for the best.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Let's Talk Movies podcast. My name is John, and this is David, aka Shamrock Balls, and we are at the beginning of a new season of the Let's Talk Movies podcast, and the first one we're going to be covering on this new season is Misery, directed by Rob Reiner, based on the Stephen King novel. Is that correct, David?
Yep, that's correct, John. And since we're into a new season 4 of the Let's Talk Movies podcast, I would like you to dedicate this podcast to me. So I will be the envy of the world.
I absolutely will, Mr. Man.
I know I said I was going to open with a quote, but that one just came to me earlier there.
That's a good one.
which is what I was looking for earlier when I was keeping you. But yeah, we're starting with Misery. Would you call it a classic?
I would call this a classic, and I was wondering, because I didn't go through our list, is this the first film that we've done based on a Stephen King adaptation?
Yeah, that crossed my mind too when I was taking my notes. I think this is the first Stephen King adaptation movie that we have done, which is very surprising.
It is very surprising all these years because, I know that you're a big Stephen King fan when it comes to his novels, and we're talking about something later in the year about Stephen King as well, but I'm surprised we haven't hit anything else.
And not only that, this is our second James Caan movie of the month.
Yeah, it's James Caan January.
Yeah, Caan January. Caan!
Very different James Caan performances, though.
Much different than in The Godfather, which is what I really like about it. My initial thoughts on this is this is a psycho-esque, suspenseful thriller, scary, darkly funny, and horrifically brutal, with wonderful performances from both James Caan and Kathy Bates. Make Misery one of one of the best Stephen King film adaptations of all time. Would you agree?
I completely agree. And after rewatching it, I felt like this is one of the best Stephen King adaptations. It's funny because Rob Reiner directed one of the other best Stephen King adaptations, Stand By Me. And it just feels like Rob Reiner kind of has a feel for what Stephen King, for his novels, because Stephen King, I believe, was pretty disappointed with most of his adaptations, like up to Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a very much a classic claustrophobic horror film. And as great as James Caan is, Kathy Bates gives the performance of a lifetime in this movie.
Oh, she certainly does. She's absolutely fantastic in this film. I also feel as if that obviously we usually do, legacy and stuff at the end and accolades and stuff. She won the Academy Award for this movie for her portrayal of Annie Wilkes. And it's the most memorable portrayals of a villain in any movie, especially a female villain. I'd made a note when I was making my notes, but I'll bring it up now while it's in my head. Is this the best female villain since Nurse Ratched?
I think so. I was trying to think of other great female villains as well, but I mean, she's right up there, and she's so vulnerable and not afraid to make a fool of herself. Like the way she commits to this character. And I was trying to think of Kathy Bates before this, and I honestly couldn't pull a Kathy Bates performance before this movie. So I feel like she was just very. I guess she had her guard down on this. Like she didn't have to worry about the actress of how she's going to be perceived, because this won her one and only Academy Award, and it's actually the only Academy Award for any Stephen King adaptation.
That's right. I seen that, and I love when she goes, "Oh, Paul."
I was gonna say one thing I want to note about her Academy Award speech is she did an interview a couple of years ago, and she felt really guilty. Like she was in a live interview. Like she said she felt really guilty. She was having a falling out with her mom at the time, and she said she wished she would have thanked her in her speech. And the guy went, "You did thank her," and she completely forgot that she had thanked her mother in her Academy Award speech.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize that, but what I actually like about her performance is the range of her performance, John, because she's playing this. And I put this in my notes that a very psychologically disturbed person, but she goes through all these different range of, would you call it, emotions, more characteristics, where she's charming and she's nice, and there's the nurse side coming out, but you also see that kind of more sadistic side of her. You see the angry side of her, you see the psychotic side of her, and then you also see a depressed side of her as well. So she goes through all these different ranges of emotions and characteristics throughout this whole movie, a full range of this character. And she's always kind of keeping you off guard as well, you know what I mean? But I also think as well, even though Kathy Bates got a lot of the accolades for this movie, that I think that James Caan's performance, in my opinion, is just as good. It's just the fact of Kathy Bates' performance is more flashy. And I think without, James Caan giving that vulnerable performance of this, writer who is damaged because of the car accident and being psychologically manipulated, tortured. You know what I mean? As well, he gives such a performance doing that, that in my opinion, it probably helped her performance, elevated her, was able for her to elevate her performance. But that's just my opinion on it. I think they're both brilliant in the movie. I mean, God knows
I
how another actor would have worked in the role. I don't know, but I think they worked really well together.
Yeah, I mean, there was like other people considered for both roles. Even Rob Reiner wasn't even considered the first director, actually. But I can't imagine other people in those roles because James Caan, like you said, he might not get the big flashy performance, but you need him to give the performance he's giving because he's the one in peril. So he can't get his flashy performance. She's the one with all the power. So
Yeah,
he's got to be he's in bed the whole time. Like that's I was thinking about it. Like speaking like vulnerability, like the fact that he's in a wheelchair, like he looks sloppy. He just looks, he's in a terrible position. And this is a guy who, he's a big time writer, but now he's been broken down to this weak man who relies on Annie Wilkes.
yeah, I know that's the whole thing. The whole thing is that there's certain hints throughout the movie. Him throwing the snowball, you see he's athletic. We see he's strong. He mentions about being a slum kid, so he's from a tough area in New York, and all of a sudden, as you say, he's in this very vulnerable position, and he entrusts Sonny at the start. But after a while, he soon realizes this is a bad situation I'm in. I'm gonna have to try and get myself out of it. And as the story unravels, you realize that he is in grave danger. This isn't just an obsessive fan who wants to look after him, or maybe just wants to keep him there. She will do anything to ensure that he does not leave that house. And and the suspense just keeps building and building and building and building. And as Paul Sheldon finds out more about this grave danger he's in, the audience learns that with him. So we feel that fear and anxiety as the movie trots along, you know. Um, but what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else, mate. Can't remember. Forget me. It'll come
Yeah.
back to me.
It's been, this being a Stephen King adaptation, I find it very fascinating that it's about a writer. I mean, I'm sure that like
Mm.
that's where he's pulling from, and toxic
Mhm.
fandom like this, like, somebody
Yes.
who's obsessed with you like this, and you have to worry about what if one day one of them gets a hold of me and I have to rely on
Yeah.
them. I can only imagine that's probably a real fear for a lot of celebrities to end up in a position like
Yeah.
this. Like he thinks like, oh, good, like she cares about me, and then it's that slow burn of her, like those little cracks that you start to see before she just goes full blown psychotic.
Yeah. And the thing is, you had said there, yes, I'm a Stephen King fan, but there's certain King fans out there that are like total like Annie Wilkes fanatics, right? That know everything he's ever done, read every word he's ever done. I wish I was a better reader. I wish I'd read more King than what I have. But one thing that I can't say is that I've read Pet Cemetery. I've read Misery. Misery, as a matter of fact, was the first King novel that I actually read.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. And the thing was that when I read Pet Cemetery and I read the background of it, he didn't want to publish that because he actually was contracted to finish to have another novel. Actually, he wrote it. He wrote Pet Cemetery, and if anybody knows about Pet Cemetery, that this his greatest fear was it's about grief, right? It's about losing a
Mhm.
child, and that was his biggest fear. And he thought it was the scariest book he ever read. So he threw it in a drawer and he forgot about it because he didn't want to what would you say, jinx himself. He thought if he published it, right, and he owed his publisher, I think it was Doubleday, another book, and he didn't have one, so he just took out of the drawer and went, "There's one there for you," and they published Pet Cemetery. Whereas this one here um, was I which he says Pet Cemetery was his biggest fear as a parent. This one here to me is his biggest fear as a celebrity writer, a man who, has become so famous and also for his horror novels that he couldn't escape that. I remember reading that Stephen King hated the fact that he was known for horror. He wanted to be taken serious just as a writer, not a horror writer, not a genre writer. And you see that in Paul Sheldon. Paul
Hmm.
Sheldon. So the whole point of Paul Sheldon was that he wanted to get away from Misery, but Misery was the novels that made him. And unfortunately for him, despite the car accident, the fact that he wrote the other book, which he wanted to be taken as a serious writer, that's what set her. That's what Rizzy set her off. And then when she read Misery's Child, that was it. For him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's what set her off because she could not handle the death of Misery. And I imagine many fans of his probably would have been pretty disappointed with that. And it seemed like his agent was a little disappointed because that's like you said, that's what brings in the money. But
Yeah,
that's not necessarily what him, the writer, wants to do. And he wants to try something different. He wants to, stretch his legs a little bit. But I feel like this happens
no
not
pun
just
intended.
yeah, well, he can't stretch them. but like even this happens to we've talked about this with musical artists, with filmmakers. You kind of get pigeonholed, and anytime you kind of step out of your comfort zone or what people like, your fans get disappointed by it because they want to hear like the greatest hits.
Yeah, yeah, and that's basically what I remember reading about Keane is that he's that he hated that he was being pigeonholed as a horror writer. He didn't like that, and then he went on later in his career to do other wonderful work. He wrote a children's book at one stage for his daughter. He went on to do wonderful work in doing things like the
Gunslinger.
great. Well, the Green Maid, but then he done all the fantasy stuff with the Gunslinger. But he done like the Green Maid was more serious, and then of course a lot of his one of his most famous, people say it's his best adaptation, is the Shawshank Redemption. But again,
Well,
that's
that's a
not really,
novella, right?
but it's part of a novella. It's part of a collection of stories that he done. I'm not sure what year he done that in, but he went on to write more serious, well, semi-serious work. He done stuff like about JFK, which was about time travel, but it wasn't horror. You know, he didn't want to be pigeonholed as this horror writer, and and that is basically what Paul Sheldon wants to get away from. He's trapped within this prison of misery, and then he literally becomes trapped in his own personal hell, writing another misery novel that he wanted to get bloody away with. He thought he'd get rid of her for good.
Yeah,
Um,
he thought.
he thought, but I just want to go back, as I say, because we like to start at the start here, John, about how we first came to this film and things like that. And I touched on reading the novel. It was the first King novel I ever read. The reason being was because of this movie. It was oh yeah, yeah. I actually watched this movie for the first time. It must have been in the mid-90s on Sky Movies television, and absolutely loved it. Was enthralled by it. Thought it was a great movie, and then many years later, I bought it on DVD, and me and an ex girlfriend at the time, I was like, do you like horror movies? So, well, not really. It's me, well, this is a good one here. So we'll watch Misery. I thought you would like that. I kind of felt like that a bit, being in that relationship. So we watched it, and then afterwards, I was like, I really want to read that book, because I'd never read a Stephen King movie before, or a Stephen King book before, because I was always intimidated by the size of his novels. When you see novels like It and The Stand, and I wasn't a big fiction reader at the time, and this kind of got me into fiction reading. So I read that. And I was happy that that was a novel which was a very short novel. It's about 320 pages, maybe 350 pages. So easy enough to get through for me. And so that was the first one I actually read, and that set me on a course then. I then read, after that, funny enough, I jumped straight from that to It, just like 1,166 pages. And that led me to Who's Pet Cemetery and Salem's Lot. And then I've read a load more after that.
Ah, see, that's awesome. This my first Stephen King novel that I ever read was actually The Shining, and I read it because I wanted to see the movie. So in 8th grade, I did a book report on the book The Shining. But I remember I read the book and then watched the movie, and I noticed immediately the differences. And I was like, I'm gonna have to do the whole book report on the book, huh? And then it's got 100 on it though. But anyway, then I kind of went down and watched more of his stuff. I saw the It miniseries, and then eventually I found Misery, like yourself, on TV. I remember it just started. He had literally just crashed the car, and for some reason, it was because the car was a Mustang, and that's my favorite car. I always wanted a Mustang, and it just crashed, and I just kind of got, what is this? And I just watched the whole thing through, and was like just taken by it. And then I actually rented the the VHS from Blockbuster and watched it again, and then I watched it a few times, and I think since the age of like 18, I probably only watched this movie like 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 times.
Right.
And it's
Okay.
such a good movie. Every time I rewatch it, I get caught up in it. It's like almost like one of those movies you always
Yeah.
forget how good it is.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I actually, so I have mentioned before in a podcast, like when I was reorganizing the man cave, and I give a lot of my DVDs away to my parents. I was like, look, take whatever you want, and I took the Misery DVD because I had been waiting for a decent 4K at this side of the pond, the upgrade. I know you guys got one, and they
Yeah,
took
it's
the
right
DVD, and it's right there, is it? Yeah,
there.
it's right in front of you. And I was like, I'll wait for a decent 4K to come out. So when you had suggested about doing Misery in January, I was like, oh yeah, definitely great movie, love it. And then I was like, oh shit, I don't have the DVD anymore, and I didn't want to go and buy the old Blu-ray, but I ended up buying the old Blu-ray anyway. And then when I put it on the other night, I realized I haven't seen this film in about 13 years.
Oh my
I
god.
couldn't I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this the last time I've seen this? And well, it has. It's been about 13 years. And again, like yourself, I forget how good it is. It has to be one of my favorite. Well, they call it a thriller horror, maybe one of my favorite horror movies. Top 20, maybe not top 10, but it's such a great movie. And I feel as if as well, John, when I'm watching, I've always felt this. It owes a lot to Psycho. I
Mhm.
feel as if there's an awful lot of similarities between this and Psycho. And one thing about what Rob Reiner does, and he done it with Stand By Me, and I've never read The Body, to be honest. I've got it there. I've never read it, which is the novella that part of his uh, collection of short stories it was based on. But I just feel as if what he does, which other directors don't do with Keen Works, is he just makes it a very linear story, that it's very easy to follow and very straightforward, going from point A, point B, point C, point D, the way he does it. And I think that helps when you're adapting a novel, which what Keen does.
Yeah, exactly. It's very linear, and when you adapt that into a
Mm.
film, because this is adapted and it's written by I forget his name, or it's one of the most famous writers,
Well,
William Goldberg.
William Goldman. Well, we'll just get into the pre-production because I have some
Oh
stuff
yeah,
on
that's right. That's right. We can just
William
go in.
Goldman, and I have all some
I
of the
was just
background stuff here as
I was just
well.
gonna comment on him, like when you were talking about, because you said it's a 350-page novel. Like I guess they kind of had to condense it a little bit, but not as much. Not like how they have to do with like it, and because like that just can never be made into one film. So I guess it was probably a little easier to adapt something like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Exactly, because I'm probably being a wee bit disingenuous there because when you do have novels like The Stand or It or even Salem's Lot, the, your 400, 500 pages, 1,000 pages, there's a lot more to deal with there. There's a lot more to work with. So when you're dealing with a novella like The Body or you're doing Misery, it's a lot shorter. And to be honest with you, John, it has been that long since I've read the novel that I can't remember all the changes. It's very similar. However, I do remember the novel being a lot more mean spirited. For example, she cuts his foot off rather than just breaks his ankles. I believe she cuts his thumbs off as well, if I can
Ooh.
remember correctly. It goes into more to do with her background about who she murdered and things like that. But there's also chapters in the novel, which is really weird, which is chapters from the new novel that he's writing.
Huh.
So there's full chapters just about the new novel that he's writing. So when you see her reading the novel in the movie, that's what's in the Misery novel.
Oh, that's actually creative though.
Yeah, so you'd be reading a chapter all about what's happening in the house, and then all of a sudden the next chapter would be about either Misery's Child or Misery's Return. I can't remember. It's been so long. But there's like a full chapter just about Misery's Return. And you're sitting reading this about the characters that are mentioned in the movie, you know?
I love how
Um,
they're mentioned in the movie too, like without actually knowing the context of it. It just
yeah.
sounds like so silly. Like, oh, will he get with her? It's like, but
And
without knowing the context, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
yeah, and I might be wrong here because I said to you the other day when when we were talking about doing this, I says I need to go back and read Misery again. I want to read it again, and to be honest, I'm kind of trying to remember. Does it explain that in the actual novel? No, when he says it's all in here, you know, if you want to come and get it,
Yeah,
I'm
it's all
sitting,
here.
yeah, I'm sitting thinking, does it tell you in the novel? I can't remember. And why should you care? But I did hear that that was the biggest criticism of the novel. It was like it's going off into this fantasy novel or this romance in and out of the movie, in and out of the actual novel. When I guess they had like a suspenseful part.
Yeah, it would
But
throw me off a little bit.
yeah, I heard that. But I enjoyed the novel. But as I say, getting into the production here, we have the budget was 18 to 20 million. First thing I will say, where the hell did 18 to 20 million go on this movie?
I don't know. I guess, I mean, I don't know what the actors cost. Kathy Bates is a pretty much a newcomer. Maybe to Rob Reiner, maybe getting the book, the production itself. It's all in one
It's
location. Like, it's really hard to say, like, where the money. Like, how do you, especially in the late in the '80s, is when they would have greenlit this. Like,
yeah.
that's like what 60 million in today's world.
There's like 5 cast members, and it's
Yeah,
mainly set inside a soundstage.
yeah. I don't get
I,
it.
I when I was writing that down today, I went, "How did it cost 20 million to make this in 1990?"
I don't know. Maybe just paying Steven Spielberg, paying Stephen King, and paying.
Probably had to pay Spielberg too.
Yeah, maybe they had to throw Spielberg some money. Somebody had to get paid for them. I just don't know how you. It doesn't make much sense. Like I can't imagine James Caan at that point was demanding a big paycheck.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Maybe it was like producers, actor. Well, you said James Scott, but director. Maybe Keane was getting a big cut of it.
Yeah, maybe they cost a lot of money for them to buy the book because they did have to actually buy the rights to the book. Maybe that's what cost a lot of money because like he was very hesitant about selling it, and he only would sell it because if Rob Reiner was going to produce or direct it, so he had to be like maybe that cost some money too. Rob Reiner at this time is also really hot, like coming off of Stand by Me. What was the movie he did after that? I can't remember it.
Was it Princess Bride?
No, he did something before Princess Bride, but Princess Bride was the movie he did right before this. So there was one movie in between. I can't forget the name, but the movie he did in between wasn't as big of a hit. But he was kind of like running a heater here,
Hmm.
so he's a big
Hmm.
name in Hollywood. So maybe he cost some money too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think it must have went on costs of like people's salaries
It has to be right because
because
it can't be set design and filming on location because it's all in
no,
a cabin in a house.
yeah, majority of it, and like there's like I said, there's like 5 cast members, and like so maybe William Goldman cost a lot of money.
He's one
So
of the best screenwriters ever. So maybe.
maybe, yeah. So as we were talking about there, based on the 1987 novel by Stephen King, Misery was originally intended to be a Richard Bachman book. However, his pseudonym was exposed before the novel was due to be published.
Hmm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't know.
Yep, there you go. So Castle Rock Entertainment producer Andrew Shainman recommended the novel to his production company partner and director Rob Reiner to make the movie. So you were saying there that Rob Reiner wasn't considered originally for director?
No, so Stephen King only wanted him to either produce or direct. That was the only way he would sell. And Rob Reiner wanted to just produce. He wasn't going to direct. He said he would only direct if they couldn't hire a director. And they had what's it called? They had other people signed on to do it, and then they all kept bowing out, and they couldn't get the cast right. So finally, he just said, "Screw it, I'll direct." And then that's when they kind of hired the actors that are in play in the movie.
Right. Okay. Because Keane was a wee bit dubious about people adapting his work because he had bad experiences with The Shining. Isn't that right?
He hates The Shining. He hates
And
how that was
Christine, he
adapted.
did he not like because there was? I mean, The Shining was like 1980. This is like 1989, 90. There was a decade there. There was a load of movies come out in between
Oh
then.
yeah, you had Firestarter come out.
Cujo.
Cujo. I like the Dead Zone a lot. That one's doesn't get enough love, but that's a great adaptation. But it doesn't sound like he was happy with it. Like The Shining, people consider that, and I consider that like one of, if not the best adaptation of his novels. But he doesn't like it because it's not adapting one of the way he wants it to be adapted. He feels like Rob Reiner kind of had his finger on the pulse of like what he envisions in his mind, and that's why he puts like Misery and Stand by Me as like if you look at like Stephen King, he says that those are some of his favorite adaptations.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose with him making Stand By Me, he's thinking, as you say, here's a guy here that could do Misery.
He trusted him.
Yeah. Look, I can understand that. I can understand that to a certain extent. If a writer, he's the creator, you know what I mean? But I understand that film is a completely different medium. So I get where King's coming from.
Stephen King only directed one film, and it was his Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, apparently it's terrible.
Well, I like it, but it is terrible. I mean, and he said he doesn't even remember making it because he was so coked up.
Yeah. He says that about some of his books as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Reiner hired novelist and screenwriter William Goldman to write the screenplay. Goldman had won Academy Awards for Best Original Screenplay for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Best Adapted Screenplay for All the President's Men. He had also written the screenplay to his novels Marathon Man and The Princess Bride.
Yep, both of them. All those movies are great. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Princess Bride fan. That's the one thing in Rob Reiner's catalog that's a beloved classic. I'm not a huge fan of.
Do you know what? That's why I'm doing this. I've only seen one of them.
Really?
Yeah, and I know I should be. I think you can guess which one.
It's not all. You never saw The President's Men, or is that the? So what's the one that you did see?
Marathon Man.
Marathon Man. Oh yeah, that's right. We've talked about Marathon Man. That's a great one.
It's a great movie. I love Marathon Man, but I know I should watch Butch Cassidy and All the President's Men. I know it's in the back of the head, John. It's like I need to watch them.
They're great. Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, has one of my favorite lines of dialogue between Paul Newman and Robert Redford, where Paul Newman's like, "I've never actually shot my gun at someone like that," and Robert Redford just like sits there for like a second, like kind of like looking around, like, "Hell of a time to tell me."
Yeah, that's right. It kind of reminds me of Unforgiven. Have you ever shot a man?
Yeah, he even cut her teats.
Yeah. So on the casting, which we kind of touched on there. So Paul Sheldon was offered the William Hurt twice, but he turned it down twice. The following also reportedly turned down the part: Kevin Kline, Michael Douglas, Harrison Ford, Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Richard Dreyfuss, Gene Hackman, and Robert Redford.
So every white guy around the same age as James Caan at this time was offered the role.
And I was thinking, John, could you imagine, like, if Richard Dreyfuss was just about to get his ankles hit with a sledgehammer? Yeah. He'd be like, Jesus Christ! Oh, it's been a way since I've done that, so I don't know if I've done it justice.
Out of the two in there that I could see, I could only really see Michael Douglas and Richard Dreyfuss, honestly, in that role. Maybe Harrison Ford, but I could see Richard Dreyfuss. And Richard Dreyfuss is in Stand By Me, so it makes sense.
Did you said Michael Douglas, or did you?
Yeah, I could. Those are the only two out of those acts I could see. I could definitely see them pulling off that role.
Douglas, Ford, maybe Hackman, Dreyfuss, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, they're all top actors. The only thing is with Pacino and De Niro, because they always kind of play the tough guy, it would be really going against type. So it's hard to imagine. You know, could you imagine De Niro kind of sitting there going, "You swinging that sledgehammer at me?
I can't."
At me?
In 1990, Pacino, no. Even though he does get nominated for an Academy Award this year for Dick Tracy, but no, I can't see. That's the same year as like Godfather 3. He's already in like woo-ha mode, and I'm just like, he'll overact his ass off. James Caan plays it perfectly. He plays it a little straight.
Misery's return. I'll do that for you. I was a stump kid. You know, could you imagine Pacino doing some of those lines there? It'd be so funny. Like,
no, I don't think it would work. Those two I can't see. I just don't think that they have it for this kind of role.
Yeah, but I did hear somewhere that Jack Nicholson had been considered for the part, and he turned it down.
Really? Mm-hmm. Jack Nicholson 1 year after Batman? I could see that, actually. He's the right age for it.
I could see him playing this part 100%, and it wasn't. I mean, I gotta be honest, I got a lot of my background information here from Wiki. I expected it to be on there. It wasn't. So, but I definitely heard that Jack Nicholson was, I think, first choice.
Huh. Well, you know what? I could see it. I definitely could see it. And, I'm trying to think of actors at that time. He's one of the biggest actors in the world at the time, coming off of Batman. So it makes a lot of sense.
He worked with Reiner in Few Good Men a couple of years later, or a
year
did. Or so later.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's his next film. Yeah, 100%. And he got a great one of his best performances. Maybe this was the time. Maybe he didn't want to do such a big role, like where he's gonna have to be in bed the whole time. Because I heard that James Caan, like, that actually did start to like drive him crazy. So some of the stuff you see on screen is like because of him like going nuts from every time he's on set, he's in bed.
He's down in bed for hours on end too every single day, setting up shots and all and everything. Yeah, and then
he's got to wait there like that.
Yeah. That sounds like a great job to me.
I know, but it sounds like for James Caan, a guy who like likes to move around and is like very energetic, and he is like kind of an athlete. Like, you've seen him in like he's got those ridiculously big shoulders in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's like, you got to put him in bed the whole time. He's got to play a guy with his messed up legs and messed up body. He's probably like hating this.
Yeah. I do know what I was watching it the other night, John. I just felt really sad because like, he's no longer with us.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and he aged like so fast. Like, the 70s, he's actually a very handsome guy, Sonny. And then
Yeah.
like here he's an older man. And then once you see him like Elf, like in the later part of his life, it's
Yeah.
like, man, like it comes so quick, life.
I know, and she mentions that I don't know what age James Caan was when he does this, but apparently Paul Sheldon's 45, and I went, "Fuck, I'm 45 this year." There, look as old as that.
No, thank God you don't. You look way better than that.
I told you before, John. When I get this HD camera in here, you'll see all the wrinkles.
I was gonna say you don't really see too many wrinkles on you. He's got like his skin. You'll have to do that. Have a wide shot of you.
That's it.
Oh man, me, I'm not afraid. I already know what I got.
It's comedy is all. It's comedy is all, mate. We can't escape. Nobody's getting any younger.
Nobody ever gets out of life alive.
No, it is. It's just exactly what the namesake of this movie. It's a misery. Yeah, but I just want to make a point here while we're in pre-production. It says, of course, I wrote a note that was doing this earlier. Of course, turning a part down doesn't mean they didn't want to do it. It may have been conflicting work schedules, or sometimes actors are considered but never approached, and it's reported as turning the role down.
Yeah, that's exactly how it gets. There's a lot that goes into making movies. I'm sure that they send the script around to people, they send it to their agents, they read it, and they might not even put that much thought into it. Like, it might not be that thing like, they don't like give a cash offer and here's what we'll give you to come in. It's like just like read the script and they probably just go, or they look at it and they go, no, I'm not going to do it. That's all it is. But they still get like, yeah, we've sent it out to them. And then it's like, yeah, they turned it down.
Yeah. So somebody who was interested in playing the part but had to turn it down due to post-production on Dick Tracy being extended, which you just mentioned, was Warren Beatty.
Mm-hmm. And I also heard today that Warren Beatty was also upset about the hobbling scene because they changed it, because they, like you said, they cut off his leg and his foot in the book, but he wanted them to keep that in. And when they changed it to a hobbling, that's really pissed him off, and he was out of it from that too.
Well, I had also read there today as well is that William Goldman wanted to keep that in. And it was Rob Reiner that insisted that she break his ankles instead, because he didn't want he wanted the audience to still have empathy for her character. And if he cut the foot off, the audience would hate her. But let's just forget that she's a serial killer and baby killer.
Yeah, but you kind of feel like you just, because we're with her for so long, we're only with these two people for most of the movie, you kind of start to have sympathy because you can clearly tell that like she's not all there, and it's like she's sitting here festering in her own mind all the time. I see what Rob Reiner's saying. It's like you'll completely like now people will just full blown hate her because it's like, did she actually like mislead us too? Or is she just truly a monster? Like, or is she just somebody who like her mind's just not there?
No, she's ill. She's sick. It's not making excuses for her. It's not making excuses.
No, it's not. It's just,
but I mean, she plays it so human and so real that she is literally just a sick individual, and she's a fantasist, and she's a dreamer. And the thing is that there's certain scenes in the movie, which was I was talking about earlier, that you can actually see the sweet side of her, the nice side of her, and you see Paul Sheldon responding to that warmly, right?
She starts out very nice.
But that's before he finds out what she truly is as well. You know what I mean? So look, is the whole thing a masquerade from the start? I don't think so. I don't think the whole thing's a masquerade. She probably did. She obviously had certain intentions from the start. You see that, and we'll get into that. But unfortunately, she's a very damaged person. Again, not making excuses. I think it might even go into the book about she suffered abuse and stuff at the hands of her father when she was a child and things like that. I'm near certain it goes in that in the book. I can't remember. John, to be honest, maybe I dreamt that up. Maybe I'm a fantasist. But the thing is that what it's saying is that there's motive, rather than just being born evil, there was certain set of circumstances which created this person, this monster, if you want to call her a monster. And she touches on some of those things in the movie, but doesn't justify it. But it's but there's a certain level of empathy there.
Yeah, and they wanted to maintain that, and if he cut off the ankle, it kind of would have been like, no, she's just a terrible, terrible, awful human being with no redeeming qualities. Whereas most people, like, there's more nuance to that. Like, what caused this person to be so horrible?
Yeah. So speaking of which, we'll go on to Annie Wilkes, but James Caan was suggested for the role, and he agreed. It's the only information I had.
Mhm.
Annie Wilkes, Angelica Houston, and Bette Midler were offered, but again they turned it down. And apparently it was William Goldman who suggested stage actress and unknown Kathy Bates should play the role. So look, I mean, I didn't look too deeply into this. I don't know whether or not it was suggested for her to play the role as an unknown because that way she would be more terrifying to the audience. Because when you go into a movie and you see a movie star, it's always in the back of your mind they're acting because you're like, well, that's Angelica Houston or
Yeah.
that's Bette Midler, but it's kind of, who's this person? No, it's the Kathy who? No, it's Annie Wilkes. That's a scary character, right? You know what I mean? So
Exactly, because it's probably, obviously I at the time would have probably seen her in other things when I got caught up to Misery, but imagine new audiences seeing this being like, who's Kathy Bates? And like being like, Jesus Christ, she's incredible.
Jesus Christ. But I would kind of vaguely remember at the time, this a lot of buzz around this movie, John. And at that time, I didn't know who she was. I did at the time I didn't think I had to or I needed to. But yes, there was a lot of buzz around it. And the thing was that there was when she won the Oscar, that also added to the buzz. I think this movie, I was looking it up earlier, it wasn't released in the UK until like early 1991. So she may have already won the Oscar by the time this movie was being released in cinemas here.
Well, sometimes they still do things like that where movies are getting like, the awards push and all the other, like the big critics saw it like last year at festivals, and then we don't get to see it till like the early part of next year. And then the Academy Awards help to add to its box office.
Yeah, yeah, but it's another advertising tool you can
Mhm.
use. As I say, I kind of, as I grew up then through the 90s, I knew who Kathy Bates was, right? Funny
Yeah.
enough, she's got Bates, like Norman Bates, but we knew who she was, and we all knew she was fantastic in this. But as an older audience member, I'm sure this movie was restricted. I think I was an 18 here. I mean, if you're going into the new Stephen King thriller or horror starring James Caan, and this woman comes in and she gives a performance like that, and you don't know who she is, that's pretty terrifying. You can really get wrapped up in that.
Mhm. I love her performance. I mean, we'll get into it more in the movie, like just her line
Yes.
delivery and how she's able to do it. And again, like it's like we'll get into it because I want to spoil some
We'll,
of my
we'll,
thoughts on this.
yes, well, exactly. We'll get into a couple of things just to wrap up production, mate. Filming began in February 1990 in the town of Genoa in Nevada, serving as the exterior scenes of Silver Creek. Interior scenes were shot in Los Angeles at Hollywood Center Studios. The movie was distributed by Columbia Pictures. It was released, I assume in the US here, November 30th, 1990, and the runtime is 107 minutes.
Perfect time too. It's not even a long movie. It's like it just honestly comes and goes, moves along at a perfect pace.
Yeah, it really does. And we should get into it. Okay, you ready to rock?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready to Castle Rock?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when I put the movie on the other day, it got me thinking. I miss when logos, like when company logos had like a nice little jingle to them, like the Grace Films intro. Like I just wish they still did that. Castle Rock had a nice one.
It did. It has that like is that the lighthouse? The light comes
Yeah,
around.
and you hear
Yeah.
like there's a little like underneath thing with the piano. I'm like, oh, I wish they don't do that anymore. Now they kind of start playing like the film score over the logos popping up, and I'm like, I kind of miss it when they all had their own little intro.
I get what you're saying because we have touched on this before. I think in previous podcasts where like there's certain logos when you hear that noise, that music, it reminds you of a memory of a certain movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember growing up with like Grace Films and like you hear the shh and like and everything, and then the little dun 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 kicks in. I'm like, I wish we still had that. Or Touchstone Pictures. I miss all that.
Yeah. Or Caralico. Caralico.
I mess that one up too all the time. Carico.
Yeah, that's like Cargo. Yeah, something like that. Terminator.
I just watched a documentary on that last week, actually.
That's right. That's
Fantastic.
probably why it's in my head. You were saying to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or New Lane as well. Although I don't think that had music, did it? New Lane.
It did a little bit actually. It went real quick. It was back in the 90s, not the original. Not the original New Line logo. When they switched to the like blue and black and white one that you would see in front of like the mask.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. But the ideal
Yeah.
one, the other one I remember of New Line is like the start of Nightmare on Elm Street, where you used to just flicker that black and red really quickly.
Yeah, and that didn't have any.
Mhm.
That they actually layered the Nightmare score over that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we have MGM Castle Rock Entertainment opens the movie. We hear taping, cigarette, a match is sitting there, champagne glass, champagne on ice. And here we see Paul Sheldon finishing his new novel. He's handwriting on the pages, the end, and it says untitled. He celebrates with a cigarette and a glass of champagne.
I'll be honest, I don't smoke cigarettes, but it looked like the best cigarette in the world the way he smoked that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking more about the champagne, to be honest with you.
About the champagne, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
something like he sucked that cigarette in the way like his eyes like rolled back, like like he finally got like because it's the end of writing his book and like this is his celebration for completing it, and it's like I kind of know that feeling even if it's not like with a cigarette, like the sense of completion and like I can relax now.
Yeah. That's what he's aiming for. Get this done. I can have that cigarette. Let's get it out of the way.
Yeah, he got about what 20 minutes of relaxation.
Yeah, if that. He hits the road with his new manuscript in an old leather-bound folder. He's leaving a log cabin on a snowy location, and we have the song "Shotgun" playing on the car radio, John.
Well, got it.
And that's when we see his big red lettering "Misery" comes up on the screen. And of course, he loses control, and his car crashes as the weather conditions get worse, and a blizzard sets in.
Yeah, what was he thinking in this case? Like driving a Ford Mustang on a snowy road. Those things are rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, and I know, and he's just driving down that wee winding road in those bad weather conditions, thinking that he's going to get to where he's going.
Yeah, he thinks he can handle that, but not in that car.
Yeah. And I want to know: is it one glass of champagne he had, or the full bottle?
I don't know. Well, that would have been a different story if he was found by just someone else.
Yeah, but well, we soon find out why he wasn't found by somebody else.
Yep.
But we cut their flashback, John, where Paul is sitting with his publisher, Marcia Sindel, played by Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't draw anything else where I've seen her face, but I couldn't remember exactly where I've seen her in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know of her. She was like one of those golden age kind of Hollywood starlets. She was married to Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, really?
Don't know much else about her. I remember she was in The Sopranos.
That's where I was.
Yeah, she got mugged by Christopher Moltisanti at the Oscars.
Well, Christopher, not the best seed.
No, but no, I know the name. I know the kind of older face, but I wouldn't. And then when I see old pictures of her, I'm like, oh, that's who she is there. But I don't think I've ever seen anything with her in it.
I probably have, but I've just drawn a blank at the time.
She always strikes me as, do you ever hear of a woman described as being handsome?
I could see that.
Rather than beautiful.
Yeah, because she does look stern and strong, and like she looks like a boss. Honestly, perfectly cast.
Yeah. So he's clutching his leather folder, and he explains he found it in a closet. When he was clearing out, he carried his first book around in it, John, looking for a publisher back when he was a writer. And Marcy says, "You're still a writer, Paul." And he says, "I haven't been a writer since I got into the misery business." And she says, "Not a bad business." She tells him that Misery's Child had a first printing of over 1 million. Misery Chastain put braces on your daughter's teeth and was putting her through college. Bought you 2 houses and floor seats to the Knicks. And you go and kill her. And he says, "I never meant for it to become my life." So as I imagined, that was Caan's reaction to being branded a horror writer. He says, "If I hadn't have gotten rid of her now, I'd have ended up writing her forever." He says he's leaving for Colorado to try and finish his new book. And I love this line. This is dark humor here. "I might just have something I want to put on my tombstone."
Something to be proud of.
Yeah, but I kind of thought to myself, like, say she didn't rescue him, right? And, well, either or. Say she ended up killing him, right? Well, I suppose Well, it doesn't matter. Say she didn't rescue him and he died, they would have found that manuscript in his car, and then they probably would have published it as his final book. And
Oh,
then
it
he
would have been
would,
a huge seller.
yeah, and it would have been on his tombstone about his new manuscript. But if she kills him, then his last book would have been Misery's Shade, and that's all he would have been remembered for.
Yeah, and that you know what? He would have been pretty disappointed with I mean, in death, I guess you're not disappointed, but you're right. He would have died like being misery was his only thing. That was his claim to fame. The misery writer.
Yeah, cut back to Paul injured in the car and someone pulling him out and rescuing him. I love how she's just like carrying him on her shoulders.
I mean, Kathy Bates, you know, she's a little bit of I don't want to say it's this mean, but she's a little bit hefty,
Stocky.
stocky. That's the word. You know, she's strong. She's a stronger
Oh,
woman. Like she's definitely not like she's not petite. That's for sure.
no, and I think that's what's believable about her performance too. Like you can believe that she's that strong too.
I mean, she does. She is a strong woman. I mean, she runs a farm by herself.
Yeah, yeah. Which if you got somebody like Angelica Houston or Bette Midler in there,
No, no, I don't believe that. Maybe Angelica Houston more than Bette Midler. Bette Midler, I can't see at all. Imagine Bette Midler with James Caan on her shoulder.
So cut to Paul regaining Kansas, and this is where we hear Kathy Bates saying, "I'm your number one fan. There's nothing to worry about. You're going to be just fine. I'll take good care of you. I'm sure you will."
Oh,
And here we see Annie Wilkes. Did you answer me earlier? This is where I had the note, John. Is this the best female villain since Nurse Ratched?
I believe you're correct in that. I think so. 100%.
I mean, can you think of anybody from 75 to 90 who's better than this?
I can't off the top of my head, to be honest. I'm trying to think of like a villain who was a female that was like this, like brutal. I can't.
This scary, this memorable, given
Mhm.
this performance.
Yeah, again, there's a reason why she won the Academy Award. Like that's the only nomination for this entire film too, and she won it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Which
like she stood out.
I'm sure it was a surprise too, because people were probably thinking there's no way someone's going to win for like a thriller horror movie.
Yeah, and then actually, it's funny. I think the next year that's when The Silence of the Lambs won. So you know what? There's a full 180 in for horror.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. She says she's his number one fan, but also a nurse and gives him medication for the pain. Fate to the next scene, she tells him that he's not in hospital because the blizzard was too strong. The phone lines are down, and he nearly died, and he needs to rest. So there you go. So she's already lying to him.
Yep, right from the very beginning, she's lying to him.
Mm-hmm. And we cut to the next scene, and I love this line she says to him here, John. She says, "Your legs just seem grand upper when you move." And we have this gruesome shot of his mangled legs that she is kind of tried to mend. And she says, she says, first of all, she says, "Your shoulder was pretty badly dislocated. It was a bit stubborn, but I finally popped it in there." And she says, "What I'm most proud of is the work I done on those legs." And she shows them, and there's like two pieces of wood down either side, and they're just tied together, and it's just
and they look gruesome too.
and just his feet are all swollen.
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky he didn't get an infection. I mean, she said she knows what she's doing as long as he doesn't get one, but he's very lucky he didn't.
So it's a gruesome shot, John.
It really is. Those legs are. He's lucky. He is kind of lucky because if she didn't discover him, he probably would have died, right?
Yeah, I think he would have died.
So like, the kind of irony of it is like he kind of has to get through this phase anyway, or he would have been dead.
Yeah, yeah, I think he would have died. He would have died in that car, and the manuscript would have been the final novel, and that's what he would mainly be remembered for. So he probably would have got his wish, but that's why I'm saying it's funny the line about I want to have something on my tombstone.
Yeah.
He had the car crash that would have been on his tombstone,
Yeah.
but she rescues him, as you say. He has to go through this, but he touches on that at the end very briefly.
Yeah, he does. He does bring that up.
Yeah, but we cut then to Marcia, who's in New York. She's on the phone asking to speak to the Silver Creek chief of police or sheriff. And she's speaking to Buster, played by Richard Farnsworth. Now, I briefly looked him up. Apparently he was nominated. He was a stunt man. He was nominated for Academy Award for Best Actor once in some film I'd never heard of.
He was also in the Straight Story with the David Lynch film that came out in 2000, which is actually a very good movie.
Well, I know his face, and I don't know whether or not it's just because I'm familiar with this movie.
See, I actually thought he was somebody else, and then I looked it up. I was like, "Oh, it's the guy from the Straight Story." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with him at all. So yeah, I don't know if it's just I'm familiar with him in this movie, and that's what it is. That's all it is. But no, I like him in this. I like his character, and I like him in it as well.
Yeah, he's good.
So Marcy explains Paul Sheldon usually goes up to the Silver Creek Lodge to finish his books, yet he left last Tuesday and hasn't been seen since. Buster says she's probably being a bit overprotective, but he'll put his name through his system, a post-it note stuck to a corkboard. It's a system.
It's a small town kind of feel, that's for sure. This guy's the sheriff, and he just feels like a regular guy, and there's not much support for him.
No, he's not. He's got his wife working with him,
Yeah.
and as I say, he says, "I'll see what comes up." And Buster's, I put it down here, Buster's saucy wife,
But that's what's keeping their relationship alive.
must be the horniest 70-year-old around. Virginia arrives in. We got a phone call, busy morning, and he's like, he asks when the blizzard was, and she says last Tuesday. So he said, It's really funny, he seems to be the only one doing any police detective work around this case.
I know, and he's just the sheriff. Even when the other police get involved, they kind of like write it off like we did an investigation. It's like your investigation took you like 20 minutes.
I didn't put down in my production that Billy Bob Thornton was cast as his deputy, but they cut his part from the movie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I could see him doing that this time too.
Mm-hmm. And I just can't remember the deputy in the book at all. So
yeah, I didn't even know. I think from what I understood, like what I read or heard, is that the wife character wasn't even in the book. Like that was added.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
So I mean,
I'm not even sure if he dies in the book.
Ooh, well, he dies in this.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and read it again. The following scene, Annie's giving Paul a shave and confesses she was following Paul. That's how she was able to rescue him, because she's his number one fan, the world's greatest writer. And Paul says, "Say that last part again. I didn't hear you." So,
he's really feeling himself there.
Yeah, but he's thankful. He's thankful that this woman has saved him and is looking after him at this stage. He thinks that she's genuine. He's not thinking anything's off here at all.
When she said that she was watching him, I would have been that would have been my first like tip, like, huh, watching me, huh?
He says that she drives up and sits and looks at the window.
Yeah, I get that she knows where he writes his books, but like I still think that's weird that she would be just out there watching him write. Like that's strange.
But she lies to him here. He's charmed, and she says that she run into him by mistake coming home from work on Tuesday. She doesn't go to work. She's not working. The thing is, she was literally following him from the lodge.
Yeah, wherever he was going, which is, what was her intentions in that? That's a question. Like, what would she have done when he got where he was going? Was she just to turn around and went home, or did she have bigger plans for him? Was she going to kidnap him? Who knows?
When he goes out of town, maybe she just turns back home again, waits for him to do his next novel.
Yeah, exactly. Like she knows where he writes. Maybe she does this every time. Who knows?
So she says, "Oh, Paul, I've read everything of yours, the misery novels. I know them all by heart, all 8 of them." And she lies again about the phone lines and the roads. He asks to call his daughter an agent. She asks to read the new Paul Sheldon book, which is in his leather case. I'm surprised that she hasn't already taken that out and read it.
I think at this point she's like trying to be a little bit more cordial with him, be respectful. Maybe she doesn't actually have the intentions of doing what she ends up doing until like, certain things with this book and then with the next misery book. That's maybe what sets her off. Maybe her intentions were just to nurse him back to health. I don't know. Maybe until she read that book, though, things really got bad.
Maybe that was her intentions. But the whole thing is the lying. What is that?
Why lie? Yeah.
Why not just bring him to a hospital? It's because I'm going to nurse him back to health and then what? Let him leave. But it could have just, no pun intended, snowballed. But like, I feel as if there is this genuine side to her, but there's also like maybe not a split personality there as well.
Oh, her mind, but we could see it happening like in the same scene where she could be really sweet and then just be set off by something and like send her into a tirade.
Yep. And then she suddenly pulls back from it,
Hmm.
and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that."
Yeah, she says that later in the movie, like her mind like can be muddy sometimes, and she's accepted that, so she knows that there's like something off.
Yeah. But it's whether or not it's sincere.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like kind of tough to tell if she's sincere or not. Like in these opening, we feel like she's a sincere person here, and but we don't really know for sure.
Yeah. We don't know what's up at this stage, and that's what's great about it. The audience
Mm.
knows what Paul knows. That's
Yep,
it.
exactly. We don't know her thoughts at all. We're following along with Paul.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. We are basically we identify with Paul throughout this whole movie. So when he cringes, we cringe.
Yep.
Yep.
And
When he's terrified, we're terrified.
with
you
this
know?
unpredictable human in the room.
Yes, and I think that's the whole point. And as I said earlier, as he learns, we learn, and we get more scared as he gets more scared, and you start rooting for him. You want to get him to get out of there. You want him to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul says, "Well, I do have a very hard and fast rule as to who reads my stuff at this early stage. Only my editor, my agent, and anybody who saves me from freezing to death in a car wreck." Boy, it's that clockwork, the way your pain comes and goes, or comes. I love this thing. She says, "I'll get you your novel, Paul. Forgive me for prodding away and making you feel all oogie." It's brilliant. But he says he doesn't have, he goes on to say he doesn't have a title for the book, and he doesn't know what it's about. And maybe Annie can tell him and come up with a title, which is nice.
Yeah, that is nice. He's like, extending her an olive branch because at this point he's like, you did save my life. It does seem like she's being honest. She's been upfront with him about everything. He doesn't know for sure what the phone lines in the hospital, so he believes her. So he's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you can read the book. You're a big fan. You clearly like my work. You saved my life. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he's given gratitude as well. He's considering, like, he doesn't like, he's written this book. It's a different book than what he's usually used to writing. And he's like, he's not sure if it's gonna hit. And he's like, well, if you're a fan of my work, tell me what you think of this. And maybe as a thank you, she can help him name it. And no doubt about it, he probably would have give thanks to her in the book as well.
Yeah.
For saving his life if she had done the right thing. Okay, doesn't mean she had to like the book, constructive criticism and all that. But he's given back a bit of gratitude.
Yeah, he honestly, like, and she should have accepted that. Like, that would be a nice thing. Like, I think she would have been happy to have a dedication to her. You love this guy, right? But unfortunately, she loves him with guardrails.
Yeah. And I love her response. I was just like, me? As if I could do something like that.
The way she does that is insane.
Yeah. It's just, again, so kind of like lovable at this stage,
Mm-hmm.
So brief scene of Buster visiting the Silver Creek Lodge. The owner, Libby, tells him that Paul always orders a bottle of Dom Perignon when he's ready to go, and travels up from New York in the same car, a 65 Mustang.
Mm-hmm. It's got a tradition.
It's tradition. Yeah.
I like that.
A family tradition. What's that out of?
Like, you looking at the camera. A family tradition. I'm trying to remember.
You know the line, you know it, don't you?
Yeah, I know the line, but I'm trying to plug on the film.
It's another car. It's the 6000 SUX.
I was gonna say RoboCop too.
Yeah, isn't that what he says at the end of that ad? A family tradition.
A family tradition. Yeah.
Because bigger is better. 6000 SUX, an American tradition.
Got to get myself one of those.
6000 SUX.
Great gas mileage.
Yeah. Not something that gives shitty gas mileage. Yeah. Nice car, Joe. Clarence. Okay. The following scene, Annie is feeding Paul soup when she loses it over the bad language in his new book.
The swearing, Paul. There, I said it.
Paul says these are slum kids. I was a slum kid. Everybody talks like that. And Annie says, they do not. What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? Wally, give me a big bag of that effing feed and a pound of that bitchy cow corn.
Says, in the bank, do I tell Mrs. Bollinger, oh, here's one big bastard of a check. Give me some of your Christing money.
Yeah, just over exaggerating. My God, it's like crazy how she can't handle it. But we can see that she does curse as it goes on. So it's like, what are you trying to put up a front here for?
All right. Well, does she curse?
Well, like later in the movie, doesn't she like say certain curse words like out loud? Like, kind of like, I mean, given she's angrier, but if you don't curse at all, I feel like you'd be able to control yourself, but just showing how she has this kind of like personality that almost kind of changes.
Well, as far as I can remember, she says certain words in place of curse words, right?
That's true. She does when she's talking about the picture show. She's like the cotton noonie or whatever.
Cock-a-doodle, right?
Cock-a-doodle.
Cock-a-doodle. But at the end, she literally says a curse word at the very end when she's about to kill him.
Yeah.
So she does. That's when is this just all bullshit?
I feel like it is all bullshit. That's what I mean. I feel like she's just trying to put on this like very innocent, and she's religious, as we see.
She's always wearing that cross, you see, so she's have a tough kind of Christian upbringing.
She brings up God a lot, actually, in this.
Yeah,
about how like it's God's will. She even said it in the court that it was God's will for her.
Yeah, it's like very delusional, kind of religious.
Yeah, that's
person.
how. Yeah, exactly. It's just for her to justify it to herself that her actions are right. Like the only person that can, that can judge me is my maker, and it's nobody here on earth.
Yeah, it's King does a lot of that. Carrie as well is another one.
I don't even know, is Stephen King religious, or is he like an atheist always commenting on the Christian religion? I'm not entirely too sure.
Oh, wouldn't want to speak for the man.
I don't want to speak for
I'm
it
near
too.
certain. I know. I'm near certain. Maybe he was raised Catholic.
It feels that
But-
way, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if he's an atheist or not.
I'm
You
not
know?
sure.
But as I say, you remember Carrie? She has a domineering mother, and that who's very religious,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why Carrie is the way she is. She's always kind of guilty and about sin and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's the whole scene at the start with her period and stuff, and
Oh,
she
her
thinks
mother's
it's
horrible.
sinned, yeah, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Which is very, very close to the book. So yeah, she spills the soup on his bed sheets. There, look there. See what you made me do.
Yeah,
She
it's his
says.
fault.
Yeah. So I can't do an impression of Kathy Bates, so I'm not gonna try.
It's hard.
It's tough. It's tough, especially being a woman's voice as well. It's very
Yeah.
tough. Yeah. So this is the first time, John, we see this woman, as you said, is not all there, and she's actually dangerous. And she says, "Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. Will you ever forgive me?" And he's like, "It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine." And then that's when she's like, "I love you, Paul." And then you see him kind of freaked out, bad, and she catches on, and she's like, "Your mind, your creativity. That's all I meant."
Yeah, I mean, but he's already starting to get freaked out. But I'd be a little freaked out after that whole thing too. Like you had to bring that up. Like that's a weird thing to get caught up on.
Well, yeah, and I made a note here saying that after she leaves, this is the first time we see Paul actually worried. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in this stranger's house, and she reacts like that.
I'd be petrified too.
Yeah, and he, as you say, he's in a very kind of like compromising position, vulnerable position. When she's telling you the phone line's down, the roads aren't open, his family doesn't know where he is, his publisher doesn't know where he is, he doesn't even know where he is.
That's true. He doesn't know how far she took him.
No, she just knows he's in this farm, this house, and you look out the window and it's just like land.
Could
Not a
be
building
anywhere.
in
Like,
sight.
like what's his plan? He's got to get to a phone because there's no way he can ever figure out where he is and how to get out of there.
Yeah. All he's thinking at the minute is they gotta let people know where I am or get to a hospital. You
Yeah.
know?
Fair enough. He's like, I wouldn't blame him. Like he's like, she's not like she says she's a nurse, but I need an actual doctor to look at me.
Yeah, well, she says that. I mean, that's when he's maybe got to start contemplating. How much of this is bullshit? Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. So Buster and Virginia are driving the snowy road, and she's saying, "Well, this is sure fun," and she grabs him by the leg.
Yeah, well, maybe they pulled off for like a 10, 15-minute break there.
Pulled off is right, and Buster says, "Virginia, when you're in this car, you're not my wife. You're my deputy." And Virginia says, "Well, this deputy would rather be at home under the covers with the sheriff."
Oh,
And
man.
Yeah, but he sees a broken branch in one of the trees and follows his instincts off the roadside down into the snowy hill. But he falls, so he goes back, and the camera pans to the right, John, and we see the wheel of Paul's car buried in the snow. Buster says if he's out there, he's dead. Let's go to the newspaper office. And then we see Annie Wilkes driving past them in her car.
He was so close to solving the crime right there, but he doesn't even realize it.
Yeah, but the snow was so deep, he just couldn't go any further.
No, can't blame him. I mean, that is the biggest problem. You know, he crashed in the snow. It's hard for them to go even looking for him.
And I love in movies where like characters kind of like pass each other, but you know, and they don't realize
that their stories are so intertwined.
Yeah,
I love that too.
Yeah, and this woman is eventually going to kill him. I just want to put a wee note here. The musical score is psycho-esque at times.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. And there's not really much other licensed music in the movie other than the one at the very beginning. I think that's the only song played, right?
Yeah. Well, there's Liberace tunes are played.
Oh, yeah, I guess Liberace. She's a huge Liberace fan.
Yeah, because the house is going to be filled with romance, John. That's who it is. But
how do you think she would have felt like? How do you think she would have felt when she found out Liberace was gay?
probably would have went off on one again. Yeah,
that was all Ace Ventura. I mean, that was all that Austin Powers got caught up on when he lost all those 30 years. Can't believe Liberace was gay. The women loved him.
That's right. But well, there was a rumor that he actually died of AIDS, wasn't there? And there was something else put down on his death certificate because it was.
I feel like they did that a lot back then.
Yeah, but because it was stigma at the time.
Didn't that happen with the guy who played Mike Brady on the Brady Bunch too?
It may. Oh, I'm not familiar. It made it done.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like nobody knew he was gay until he died. Like, you know, close friends knew, but like nobody knew. And then he died, and it was like, oh, he died of AIDS, and like nobody wanted to say it. Like, you know, like they just said it was like some kind of other disease because they didn't want to like, you know, ruin his image after he died because you know the stigma of the time.
It's the stigma of the time, of course. Yeah.
A
lot of people didn't disclose back then. I remember seeing a video of Liberace doing a tour of his house in LA, I think it was. Unbelievable. What a house.
I mean, he could afford it.
And but the music, yes, I was just saying, there's horns and stuff through it, you know what I mean? But he uses a lot of strings and stuff, and to me, some of them sound a lot like Sego, quieter moments and stuff, and things like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was influenced by that when he's making a movie like this, like, you know, your classic horror thriller, like kind of in the same vein. So I'm sure he had it on his mind.
Yeah, definitely. So back in Paul's room, Annie arrives. She's bought the very first copy of Misery's Child. Paul quizzes her about the roads and the phones. Annie says the only road open is the one to town. And she called the hospital, and as soon as the roads are open, they're going to send him an ambulance. And her own phone is still out, but the one in town is working. She called his agent. But she also wants to do is talk about the book.
Yeah, he's just blowing because she's lying. So, you know, what any lawyer does is like, you know, let's move past this stuff. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, she's just like talking about the book. She's sitting beside him and all excited, expecting to have this big conversation with him about the author, about the book. And he's just like, he's upset because it's his daughter's birthday. And he said that he'd be home for it. And the last thing he wants to talk about is Misery's Child, because that was like him just being like, just get this book out, kill her off, get it done. Fuck that. I'm going to move on.
Yep. And she's going to pick that up right away, too. She's excited for this book, but she's probably going to be able to sense the tone that this guy was done with Misery. And that's, oh, man, worst time to put out Misery's Child, right?
Yeah. What timing, Paul? What timing?
Poor Tommy. Couldn't it be during the 7th book that he crashed his car?
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. She senses that he doesn't want. She's miffed that he doesn't want to talk. She stands up and just goes to storm out of the room, and she turns to him and goes, "Oh, Paul, what a poet you are." He's sitting there fucking disgusted, you know.
Yeah, of course he is. He's like, because now he's starting to pick up on this shit.
Yeah, and it's his daughter's birthday, and that's all he can think of. There's no empathy there. The fact that this man is stuck here and he's missing his daughter's birthday.
He's genuinely missing. He loves. You can clearly tell he loves his daughter. He's brought her up a lot. Like,
Yeah.
and he's really disappointed that it's her birthday and he can't be there with her.
Yeah, and she loves him that much that she cares about his feelings.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, she cares about her own feelings.
that's exactly all she cares for. She's a
Mhm.
narcissist. So next scene, Annie brings him her specialty, scrambled eggs a la Wilkes.
Alla Wilkes.
She says she's on page 75, and the book is perfect. A perfect thing. It's not divine yet. It's perfect. She says, well, what do you think? And she's like, would you settle for great? And he's like, I can settle for great. And she's like, no, it's perfect. A perfect thing. And yeah, that's that scene, John. But she's holding the book, and to see, now I never looked into this, see the back of the book, and you see it earlier on in the flashback at the start of the movie, where Lauren Bacall has the proofs of the cover. That picture of Paul Sheldon and like the wheelie jumper just standing like he kind of like. I'm near certain that is a exact kind of same shot of Stephen King when he done some of his books.
See
Only with James Caan.
That makes sense. I never put it together like that, but that makes a lot of sense. When I saw it, it's funny. I noticed that this time too, and I'm like, they really did used to do that a lot with writers, like having the black and white photo in the back, kind of like that. And I'm like, but you're saying that it makes perfect sense because he's supposed to kind of be Stephen King in this situation.
Yeah, it's basically Stephen King, but I'm near certain the exact shot is the same shot, only it's James Caan. You know the way he's
That's
standing,
genius.
look in
Actually,
his face. I'm near certain I've seen a picture like that only with Stephen King.
Yeah, I've never heard that before, but I guarantee you're right.
Yeah, I have no doubt they've probably done that because there's bits here I'm going to touch on as we go along. The attention to detail that when we're doing this, I'm looking out for, and I say I could never notice that before, and look at that, and you know what I mean. It's all those.
Oh yeah, when we do
details.
this show, that's the beauty of this show. It's like I'm trying to pay attention to everything, like things that I maybe never picked up on before. The only thing that kind of hurt me this time with this, I hadn't seen this in a while, so it's like it was kind of like almost a new watch, and
Yeah, I know because we have done a lot of movies that I've watched a lot of times in the last few years, and this is one when I started thinking about it, I was like, my God, I haven't seen this in over a decade. It doesn't feel like it, but I'm like, Jesus, and then it's like I had to take these notes to kind of keep myself on track here, and I realized all this dialogue is great and it's keeping the story moving forward, but there is an awful lot of exposition for the whole first part of the movie.
Yeah,
just setting things up and explaining who these characters are, their motivations, or where they've came from, and things like that. But it's never boring.
No, never. It's never boring, and that's the beauty of this movie. Because also, you're fleshing out both because we're only with really these two characters. You flesh them out so well, you start to care about them.
And you're right into it from the start as well.
Yeah, this movie wastes no time.
Yeah, and like I say, we're learning about Annie as Paul's learning about Annie.
Yeah, exactly. As the what do they say? As the curtains start to draw, like we start to learn more about her.
Yeah, and then which brings us to our next scene. Paul meets Misery the sow.
Which, by the way, credited as Misery the Pig.
Oh, they named the Misery, did they?
It's in the credits, in the closing credits. It says Misery the Pig as himself. He's the sixth one down because there's no one in the movie.
The sixth credit, probably a higher acting credit than most.
And this is what I mean about Kathy Bates, like how she's like, oinking at him and everything. Like that's great acting. Like she letting it all down. I can't see Angelica Houston or Bette Midler doing that. I'm so like turning herself like into a child, like looking like a buffoon. Like no, like that's just all Kathy Bates.
Yes, and listen, no, I mean no malice here at all. But because she is kind of like a stocky woman, and she does that impression, it makes it even funnier.
And the clothes she's wearing and the haircut she has, it all works. Like she's wearing like these like farmhand clothes, like like they almost like she made it herself kind of thing. She lives in this old wood. It all works.
Yeah, it's a brilliant portrayal. So it is. I'd love to know, and I'm sure we can find out. Maybe there's a commentary on there and stuff like that. How much input she actually had into this character when she was creating it. I bet she had a lot, because if she came from stage and there's just the two of them on a sound stage working this out, okay, the dialogue's on the page, but I'm sure she brought a lot of these kind of mannerisms and things herself.
Yeah, being a stage actor, I imagine so, because that's a different kind of craft, and you really have to craft your character yourself. I imagine she brought those sensibilities to this.
Yeah, definitely. And when she reveals the pig misery to Paul, she says, "I told you I was your number one fan." And Paul says sarcastically, "I'm starting to believe you."
I'm starting to believe it. You see his disgust with the pig too. He can't stop looking at it.
And she says she's now page 300 and it's divine. And she goes to the door, and I love this. She turns and she says, "What's the ceiling that Dago painted?"
Yeah, that little just quick that's what I mean. Like that little quick racist remark, just like nothing
Yeah.
there.
It's just natural to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the ceiling that Dago painted?
The Sistine Chapel.
So like she's like afraid to curse, but you know what? Racial slurs, forget about it.
Yeah. And Paul's probably Italian background.
Yeah, he definitely is. And then that's how he knew what she was talking about. The Sistine Chapel. Like he says it like so like condescending, like okay.
Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, that and Misery's Child. Those are the only two divine things ever in this world." And it's so kind of like, as you say, Chad, like,
Yeah.
and
Like that's it? In the whole world, these are the two things?
The Sistine Chapel to Sistine Chapel and this trashy novel that he
The
just
eighth misery book.
which he wrote to kill her off.
Yeah. I don't think she's gonna think it's divine once she gets to the end.
Oh no, it's the worst book ever. That
Yeah.
last chapter ruined the whole fucking thing.
That's it. It's no longer divine.
It's no longer divine. And that's where she turns and she's like,
Squeaking at the page. And they walk out of the room and close it behind them. And he's probably just like, "What the fuck just happened?"
yes, he's like, I'm thinking of Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes. A madhouse! It's a madhouse!
At what point do you think he just wishes he was dead? Like, because I'd be in like my own personal hell with her and the pig. I'd be like, I don't even know if I want to be alive anymore.
Oh no, it's like, apart from the actual outburst which you had about his new novel, at the minute he's probably just thinking, this woman may be harmless, but she's nuts.
Yeah, he probably doesn't
Right.
think like what she can actually turn to happens. Like he probably does think she's just she's innocent. She means well, but she ain't gonna hurt me. She's trying to save me. I'm literally, she's my biggest fan, she says.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So the next scene, Annie's looking out the window, talking about when her husband left her. She thought she might go crazy.
You think?
Yeah. But we see here a very depressed Annie.
Yeah.
About her life.
Yeah, she does get a little down here.
And how she dove into her work, doing days, nights, night shifts at the hospital. She says they can be lonely, and that's why she and how this and how his misery books got her through it. Yeah, so she divulges how she got into his books and how she fell in love with them and how these books helped her get through tough times. And I bet you this is something that Stephen King used to get letters about all the time.
I mean, I still see things like this from other people, who've wrote in letters to people and said that, like, oh, your show or your movie, like, or your books, whatever podcast helped me through a hard time. And those people then start to feel like they have a certain connection to you, like like you saved me, but it's like my art saved you. I didn't save you. Like I made art and it's for everybody. It's not just for you. But these people feel an attachment to you now, and that's where toxic fandom comes in.
Yeah. Do you get that about our podcast, John? Do you get letters and emails all the time saying about how we saved them?
No, I haven't gotten that yet, but I did get a line from this movie once where somebody actually wrote to me and with the cursing line. Where she's like, "There, I said it." I remember years ago, and this person still watches the channel, so they might get mad. I don't care. They wrote to me, they wrote on one of the posts, like, "You just put too many spoilers in your videos." There, I finally said it, and I was like, "Okay, I'm not changing."
Well,
that's what spoiler warnings for.
I hope you don't end up in Paul Sheldon's bed.
I've actually been worried.
I was going to say shoes, but.
I've been worried.
You'd be worried. You've been worried, but no, you're 100% right. You're right, and I think that's what Caan was tapping into with this novel here. He was tapping into probably that toxic fandom that he was experiencing, not the people that mean well, but the ones that overstep the lane, who appreciate his work a wee bit too much to the point where, as you say, they think they know the person when they don't. It's the work they enjoy. And I think where there's a lot of people guilty of that. We're probably all guilty of it at some stage in our lives, but you know, worshiping, whether it's a footballer or an actor or a movie. We do it. We do it. We love movies, but no, but step it over the lane of thinking you know the person when you don't.
Don't, and they could never possibly know you the way that you know them, because you're 1 in a million to them, or a billion to them, or whatever the amount of people is. Whereas to them, you're just the one.
Yeah,
It's a little scary hearing things like that, though.
I imagine it would be scary. I mean, as I say, when I listened to a podcast recently with Al Pacino, and he was talking about the first time that he was recognized after The Godfather. The person called him Michael, and he says he went straight home and hid in his apartment. It terrified him.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like, we always forget. Like, I think a lot of people always forget that these are human beings too, and they just got famous. And for Al Pacino, I imagine it was like on a dime. Like, he went from probably being a regular guy in New York City, just walking around, to now you're like one of the most famous actors in the world, and he's probably like, I'm just Al Pacino. Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, that's the thing, Nick. You know, it must be weird, John. It must be very weird. The older I get, the more I kind of look at it, and I go, it must be very odd. You know, you're just the same as everybody else one day, and they're still the same person, but everybody else knows them and holds them up in high regard, and they're probably the ones that keep their feet on the ground. The likes of Al Pacino, I would say, are kind of going like, I'm just I'm just from New York, and
just a regular guy.
I just wanna.
Some people love the fame, like, you know, they eat that kind of stuff up. Other people are like, they hate it. Like, I mean, you know, you've heard of like Kurt Cobain, like, and other celebrities. I don't think, like, I think when we're all younger, we all want to be famous. Like, we all imagine like having that love, but you don't actually think of the ramifications of it.
That you just can't walk down the street to the shop.
Yeah. I read stories about Michael Jordan. Like, he would have to, like, if you ever wanted to go to a store or anything, he'd have to rent the whole place out, or he'd have to go after they close, and he'd have to pay them, just because that was the only way. Because there's no way you can walk in a building. You can't walk into any place ever again without being recognized.
Yeah, and I do have a certain empathy for that. You know what I mean? To a certain extent. It's a self imposed prison you have to put on yourself, you know. But I always find, John, that see the ones that kind of relish in the fame, they're the ones a lot of the time I don't think are serious artists, in my opinion. I think I think the ones that are serious about their craft are the ones that, I'm not saying that there's ones handle it better than others, but I think that there's certain people that can handle it, but they don't revel in it. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference there.
I think that's like the difference between like a movie star and an actor. Like, you know, the ones who sell the movies compared to the guy who might just or girl who might just be like a great actor. Maybe they just concentrate on the craft. They don't get involved in doing the interviews, the talk shows. They just concentrate on it. But there's the guy, the movie star, who wants to. He's out there, like Tom Cruise. Like, Tom Cruise is a movie star, but you can argue that Tom Cruise, while a good actor, and I love Tom Cruise, I really do. Maybe not the greatest actor.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I think there is like a fine line that you have to walk. And you're right. Like, some people just want the fame. Like, that's all they want. They don't necessarily care about the craft. There's plenty of people you see it in sports all the time. Like, there's people who love the game, and then there's people who love the fame that the game brings them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Sometimes I think those are the ones that never give you 100%.
No, and they probably are the same people who would probably blow off their fans. Whereas, like, maybe the smaller kind of people appreciate their fans a little bit more, because like they understand that those fans are with them, and they're not trying to, like, you know, appeal to them as much, but they still just appreciate their work.
So she's got 2 chapters left to go in the new novel. And then this is so funny. Paul reveals he's been peeing in the plastic bottle the whole time. And see, when I was watching this the other night, I forgot about this scene. And it's really awkward, because he's lying in the bed and his hands are under the covers, and he's like, answering her. And I first time was going, what is he doing? And then halfway through, I remembered, I was like, oh, he's going for a pee, isn't he? And he just feels like, does she have to be in the room? Like, does she have to be standing looking out the window? Could he not just call her when he's finished? You know, he feels so kind of awkward that she is standing there.
Yeah, and it's got to make you feel so little too, like a child.
Yeah. And he says he's done, and she comes over, and then she starts all this about, don't get me wrong, I'm not against marriage per se, but it'll take a pretty special guy to make me want to walk down that aisle again. And she starts just shaking the pee bottle at him. And you see him just looking at the bottle.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, if that lid comes off, it's going all over me.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want now. It's already hell.
Yeah. So then she says she needs to find out what happens as she's near the end of the book. This is it. This is when everything starts to change.
Oh, yeah.
Really, it starts to go downhill, really downhill.
Really
So that,
fast.
that night, Annie enters Paul's room in disgust. I love that shot of her coming through the door, the way the light and all this.
Oh, yeah.
Standing there.
You dirty bird. How could you?
It's iconic.
And she says, you dirty bird. How could you? She can't be dead. Misery Chastain cannot be dead. Imagine him walking out of your bed. What the fuck?
What are you talking about? I guess she finished though. He had to know this was coming, right? A little bit.
I think there was a bit stage in the movie earlier where when she was saying about it was divine and all this, where you see the look on his face like, oh shit, wait till you get to the end. I'm in for it. You know what I mean? And Paul tells her in 1871, women often died in childbirth, and Misery's spirit is still alive. Her spirit is what is important. Is the important thing. And she goes apeshit. She's like, I don't want a spirit. So Annie goes off on one, blaming Paul. You murdered her. And he says she just slipped away.
Slipped away! Slipped away! She didn't just slip away!
He says, you did it. And she lifts the flower pot stand they hit Paul with and smashes it off the wall. And this is where Annie says, I thought you were good, Paul, but you're not good. You're just another lying old dirty birdie. And she says when she's leaving, and don't even think about anybody coming for you. Nobody knows you're here, and you better hope nothing happens to me, because if I die, you die.
I love that. Like, she's so mad. She's like, I'll tell the truth now, finally. No one knows you're here, and you better hope nothing happens to me, because then you're going to be dying too.
But it's almost vindictive. It's
It is.
You've ruined Misery. You've hurt me. So guess what? Nobody knows you're here. You know, I didn't phone your agent. Your daughter doesn't know. And if I die, then you're fucked. But this is, I wrote down my notes here. This is scary stuff. And Paul's just pooped his pants.
Yeah, I'm sure he has.
Yeah. So he sees Annie leaving her Jeep. And he decides to see if he can get out of the room. That fall from the bed, John.
Oh, I know. It sucks for him, man. Like, that's the thing. He's in so much pain, and you can that's the acting by James Caan here that's underappreciated. It's like,
yes,
to do this. Like, you feel like he's struggling to get around. Like, you know, it doesn't look like it's as acting as much.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. And this is, to me, feels as if it's still early in his recovery, you know, in his healing. And the way he gets down that bed, and he looks and he knows this is gonna hurt. But when he throws his legs down and hits that hard wooden floor, and the screams he gives and the thud, it's obviously he's acting, of course, but it's sorer than what he expected it to be, the character. And we feel that as an audience member, we feel it. You go, oh.
Yeah, you know exactly what he's feeling, because you've been there, like, where you just like, you're like, oh, I feel fine, like, because you're just laying in bed, and then you step down or something, or you go to, like, they say you hurt your shoulder, you go to, oh no, it's still really messed up.
Yeah. Or you got a cramp in the middle of the night, and you're like, and you got to run about the room.
Yeah, you got to jump out of bed as fast as you can to get that fixed.
Or walk up and down the room.
Yeah,
It
always fixes it, but you just don't see it coming.
No, you're like having this nice sleep. You do a wee stretch, and you're sleeping. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. You know, but the thing that sells this as well is Rob Reiner being smart enough to show the damage to his legs in an earlier scene. So in your mind, you're thinking about that when he throws his legs down.
Yep, they don't have to show the makeup effects on that anymore, because we just know.
We just know when the screams sell it. I mean, I was thinking here about, I hate to bring it up, but Robert Shaw screaming when he's getting eaten by the shark and Jaws. And it's like, I've never seen a man scream as much in pain until this.
Yeah, like genuine pain. Feel that.
You feel it. So He crawls to the door, but it's locked. And we then cut to a brief scene where Buster is on the phone to Marcia, telling her not to come up. And they're working with the state police and the FBI to find Paul. So Virginia has confirmation Paul's credit cards have not been used since the lodge, and Buster says there's been no calls about the newspaper article on Sheldon's disappearance. So you see that wee newspaper article that he's looking at in the paper. So they've put that out. Where is Paul Sheldon? And there's nothing's come back. So it's like he's just, once he left there, he's just disappeared without a trace. No cards have been accessed. Nobody's seen him. So it's very odd. And you know, I don't know. Is he done the right thing by saying to her not to come up?
I think so. What do you think?
Well, I just think that
At this stage,
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
you haven't
There's
found
always-
nothing, like, you know.
No, there's always something in the back of my mind that thinks if somebody comes up and started doing their own wee digging about the place, that they would come up with some clues that the sheriff mightn't find. But that's just speculation on my part. But I suppose this is just to explain why none of his family or friends are up there looking for him.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to remember all the snow and everything, and they haven't found nothing. And he's, in his mind, he's looked like, you know, they haven't done the helicopter search yet, but like, you know, he's done the looking, and it's like, I don't know. It just kind of seems like he left here, and we have no idea where he went.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Is it fair?
You
Can I continue?
may.
You said, "Oh, David." Okay, so
I'm just picturing James Caan now.
I don't know. Yeah, this is gonna sound terrible, and I hope the guys aren't watching this. There was when Newcastle won the League Cup last year. Obviously, I was watching it live on TV. So the fan channel that I watch, he called the main host Paul, and he put the celebration video afterwards. He put a montage together of like the game and the end of the game and stuff. And there's him and a co-host. And when the final whistle was blown, they didn't know what to do. And he turned to him and he went, "Billy, we won the cup." And Billy started crying and was like, "Oh, Paul." So I was watching this. I was going, "Oh,
That's hysterical.
hope I'm not watching."
I get it. You get emotional.
Oh yeah. But it's why he said, "Oh, Paul." And when I started watching this the other night, I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Billy, when we won the cup." Anyway, back to misery. So Annie finds Paul on the floor beside his bed, and she's back to her usual cheerful self. You know, she's like, "You poor dear thing. If I had a proper hospital bed, this never would have happened."
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, listen, she's smarter than that. But
Yeah, she
has
knows.
but she has a plan.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She helps him up onto the bed and starts to reveal the plan she's devised. Sometimes my thinking is muddy. It's why I cannot remember all the things they were asking me on the witness stand in Denver.
Just blows past that too.
You see his face, he's like, that's what I'm saying about James Caan. See all his reactions and all. It's like,
Yeah.
fucking hell. And she says, God delivered Paul to her to show him the way and tells him he must burn his book. So Paul tries to bluff her by telling her there's dozens of copies made by his agent as it's going to the auction in New York. But she doesn't fall for it, as she knows he's superstitious and only makes one copy. He tells her he won't have it published, but she tells him while it exists, his mind will never be free. And then starts to douse the bed in the fuel.
You know, this is heartbreaking. This scene, as somebody like, you know, he's a writer. Like, this has got to be brutal to him to have to see something like this.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, like
I can relate.
Does
Being an
somebody ever-
artist,
Yeah, I was gonna say you've had somebody tie up in a bed and burn one of your paintings or one of your drawings right in front of
this
you.
is actually a wheelchair I'm in at the minute, John.
I've
It's not a normal chair.
never seen you outside of that house. I'm just saying.
Just take some of my pills here. But, no, I can relate because you know, when I do my art and stuff like that. I mean, nobody's ever told me to burn my drawings, you know what I mean? But I can relate to spending so much time. I'm sure everybody can to some level, right?
Yeah.
Spending so much time and effort and care doing something that you really love and getting to the end. And, and it's not only that, this isn't just another misery novel he's written, as he keeps saying. This is his first proper serious work that he's going to put out into the world, which he hopes is going to change the trajectory of his career and have critics think of him in a different light. This is, God knows how long he's been, kind of like this has been fermenting in his head about doing this book, and finally he's finished it. And now he's being told he has to destroy it. And once you do something like that, it's very hard. If you ever, try and replicate that, you always think it's never going to be as good as the first time I've done it.
No, you never can replicate something like that. It's tough. Anytime you have to redo something, it's never exactly the same. And he was proud of that. And she just basically, because of like what he did in Misery's Child, like now she's just such a narcissist. She's like, well, you got to move past this. It's like, why? It's done. Like, let me have that. Like, that's important to me. And she's like, no, you can never be free of it. And it's like, oh my God, like I couldn't do it. Like he's trying everything because he's desperate. He doesn't want to do this.
Yeah. But as I wrote down here, it seems he has no choice.
Yep. Doesn't she say here like something like it's God's will?
Yeah, I think she does say something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, like that's her religious connection. Like that justifies everything.
Yeah. And he lates his book. I've written down myself, but you said heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, isn't that a noogie mess?
Yeah, she just has to make a situation worse. Like, I give him credit for not acting out because, this is the same guy who bit Carlo's hand in that fight, and he's just, like, got to sit there, like, all quiet.
Yeah, well, he does another hand fight at the end of this, too.
Yeah, he does.
He does, right enough. I only made the connection when you said that.
He does do another hand bite.
Another hand bite, I love what he says. We're going to have a snack first, and she brings in the barbecue, and he goes, I was thinking more of cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
Cheese and crackers type of guy. And it's more like Al Pacino. And she puts it out, and she hears the helicopter. I'm cut the buster in the helicopter surveying the area. Again, the only guy doing actual police work here. And he gives Paul his painkillers and he hides them under the mattress.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. He's starting to formulate some kind of plan to get out of this place.
He's got to at this point because he can tell like things are getting worse and worse by the day.
Mm-hmm. That night, Annie's in bed watching a dating show. Love Connection.
Yep. Do you see what she's eating, by the way? Chips and soda.
Oh, is that what she's eating?
Yeah, she had a big bottle of Coca-Cola next to her, like a 2-liter bottle and like a bag of chips. Like, very unhealthy thing before bed.
Yeah, I noticed the Coke sitting there, and she's got she's got a tatty of a pig on her bed.
Loves pigs.
Loves pigs. And you see on the TV Kevin Andrews with a big mullet.
Yeah. It's the times.
Yeah. And Paul's eating dinner. I always think, but I know that's a guest room, right? She says she turned it into it's a guest room, but I don't know. It kind of looks like another kind of like living area. Maybe she just set it up like that for him. But it's a lot nicer looking than her own bedroom, and she's feeding him better food than what she's eating. Now, whether or not she's finished her dinner.
Well, I always thought it kind of looked like because of where it is in the house. Like, isn't it like just through the front door to the left, like where a living room would be?
That's right.
It has the bay window in there, the one big bay window. Like that's usually in most people's living rooms. Like I have a bay window in my living room. So I feel like she did just kind of make that door for that, but she couldn't have like known he was coming for her to do that. So I'm very curious because it's a very old door too, like based on the lock that's for it. Yeah.
Well, who's to say that she could have got all that stuff and turned up? I mean, if she brought him back, she could have had him in her bed. Maybe he was unconscious. Do you know what I mean? Maybe
true too.
She had him maybe laying somewhere else on the sofa. Maybe, and then got the bed and put it together and then put him in there. Because at one stage he says, how long have I been here? And she says 2 days. Because you get that couple of scenes at the start where it's just a brief couple of scenes, it fades in, fades out, as if he hasn't been conscious.
He's fading in and out, like, kind of thing.
But you're 100% right. That's more like a living room. And I'm trying to think of the other side, but the other side looks like a living room. But some houses have a lounge and like a living
dining room and stuff.
And there's a dining room there at the back beside the lounge. I think there's a lounge, isn't there? And then I could be wrong. It could be just a dining area, John. Could be.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't feel like the way a regular house is structured that room would be where it is with that kind of window. Just doesn't feel that way.
No, no, definitely not. You're 100% right. And maybe that's why it seems nicer than her own bedroom.
Yeah, because her bedroom's an actual bedroom, and this is like, I mean, he's got a lot of space to move around in there.
Yeah, you'll soon find that out in his wheelchair.
Yes, he will.
But say Paul's eating dinner and he pierces a hole in the mattress and hides more than painkillers. So next we see, as we just mentioned, Annie is wheeling Paul in his wheelchair, and Annie says, "Isn't this nice?" And Paul says, "Great. I always wanted to visit the other side of the room." And then Annie gives him an electric razor, and I love this line too here, John. He says, "If I knew what was going to be the surprise, I'd have burned all my books." And she says, "Oh, you're such a kidder." And she says, "That's not the surprise. It's a new studio." She says, she brings in a table, she's setting a table up, and she says, "Now that you've got rid of that nasty manuscript," she expects him to write his greatest achievement ever in her honor, Misery's Return. She even names it for him, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She says she knows he didn't mean to kill Misery, and he would make her the envy of the whole world when he dedicates it to her for saving his life and nursing him back to health. And Paul says there, "You just expect me to whip something up?" And Annie says, I expect nothing less than your masterpiece." And Paul says, "Some people may actually consider this an oddball situation." I love how he says that line. Some people may think of this as an oddball situation.
Like he's trying to bring some logic into the situation here, like so you understand, like this isn't normal.
Yeah, this isn't how authors usually write their book. They just don't get sat up and just start typing.
Yeah, that's not how it works, But okay, I guess.
Yeah, but while she's out of the room, Paul notices a hairpin on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie comes back with blocks of paper, tells Paul she's got a deal on this on a £50 typewriter on account of the N being missing. And you know what's really funny? When you're reading the novel, when you're reading the scenes of Misery's Return in the actual novel, the N's are all missing in the book.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's attention to detail. I was wondering how he did that without an N. Like, I don't understand.
Well, I suppose he's hitting the N when he's typing, because if you watch the pages, you can see the N's aren't there. Like if you write on, you see A space D.
Ah,
So he's hitting the N, but there's nothing coming on the page.
But like, how's that gonna read without the N? I'm like.
So she says she told the lady N was one of the letters in my favorite writer's name, and this is where Paul is like, he's nice, catching on. You gotta play her a game, you know what I mean? Reel her in.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it's two of the letters of my favorite nurse's name, Annie. But he tells her he can't work on that paper as it smudges.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks her to go back into town to get the white lawn green memo. So
this sets her off.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, he says there about she says like a child, like you say, but mine's the expensive one.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come here, I'll show you." And he says about look, and he smudges, and she says, "Oh, look at that, smudges." But she's not convinced.
No, she thinks she's right, and like she's kind of embarrassed now too, like that he would even say that after it's like, I bought the most expensive one, like like how could this be wrong? And he's like, oh well, like these things happen. He's still trying to be nice about it.
Well, he's playing the game. He's trying to get her out of the house, and he's kind of like, well, I wanted to be involved in the whole process, the whole writing of the book, and she's not convinced, but because she turns out and she goes, "Thank you for thinking of me."
Mm-hmm.
Anything else I can get while I'm in town? Any other crucial requirements that need satisfying? Would you like a tiny tape recorder? Or how about handmade set of writing slippers? He's like, no, just paper will be fine. And he's like, are you sure? Because if you want, I'll bring back the whole store for you. And he's like, Annie, what's the matter? What's the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter. I go out of my way for you. I do everything to try and make you happy. I feed you, I clean you, I dress you, and what thanks do I get? Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write in this, Annie. Well, I'll get you your stupid paper, but you better show me a little more appreciation, Mr. Man.
Mr. Man.
Mr. Man. And just slams the reels of paper on his knees, on his thighs.
Yep.
Again, as an audience member, I feel that.
Oh, and he sells it too. Like that, it's gotta freaking hurt. All this for that, just because of the paper. She's just got to go off on this
Yeah.
little tirade, and like all that I do for you, it's like, you know, you don't have to do anything for me. Just let me go.
But this always kind of like reeks to me, John, that this is a woman who was raised like this, that had maybe her father or her mother. This is the way she was treated when she was a child.
That's very
Right?
possible. Yep.
Yep. And then maybe, just maybe her husband was no good, and this is another possibility. And she put up with this shit for years, and then all of a sudden, this is the way she ended up behaving towards him. It was like, I do everything for you, you do nothing around here, you do anything else. Do you know what I mean? But I kind of go more towards the original theory that this is the way she was kind of raised, and maybe this is the way she treated her husband. This is why her husband left. Now she says, "But my husband left me." For all we know, she could have killed him.
Yeah, we don't know. She seems like the type.
Because as we will soon find that out very soon about the history of Annie Wilkes, which is very interesting. So she leaves, locking the door. Paul sees her leave in the Jeep, and this is his chance. He lifts the pin and opens the door. Picklocks it like James Bond.
He's like, "You wrote this down. Come on, you can do it."
Yeah, that's right. And then he's like, "Oh, what do you know? It actually works." I'm like, what if he had a credit card? He could adjust it.
It would have been so much easier. I mean, I guess that lock is really old because he pops it pretty fast.
He does, yeah. So yeah, artistic license. He wrote about it. It can happen. So we go into this great scene where Paul tours the house looking for a way out. The front door's locked. The inside of the phone has been removed. You crazy bitch. And he sees the book, Memory Lane. He passes by it, knocks a penguin off, catches it before it drops, and places it back the wrong way around. This is like something I would notice because I have to have my stuff in a certain way. If anything's moved, I'm like, that's been moved.
So the guy in your spare bedroom, you'll know if he gets out.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually my living room, John.
I've converted it myself.
There's the bed in there. I have. I'm trying to think. Most of the people who I admire are like dead. I think I have Steven Spielberg in there. I don't like how he killed the shark in Jaws. Steven, come on, you have to remake the movie. Dirty birdie, you dirty fishy.
Dirty fishy. That's a good
Dirty fishy. He sees the shrine to his books, including a signed photo, best wishes. So that means either she has wrote to him and he signed that and sent it to her, or she met him at some stage and he didn't even realize and signed the photo.
Yeah. Which, if that's the case, she'll know that.
I always think the latter.
Right?
That he met her.
I feel like that too. Like he would have just I got an autograph signing, signed it, and like I said, to her it's the biggest thing in the world, but to him it's like you're just one of my fans.
Yeah, but his heart probably leaps out when he sees that because he's like, "Oh shit, this crazy bitch! I've met her and I don't remember."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, fuck, who would have thought?
So I decided to write down the misery books that are sitting on the shrine. So we have the original. The Adventures of Misery Chastain, or Chastain. Then you have the number book is called Misery's Love. Book 3 is Misery's Search. Book 4 is Misery's Trial. Book 5 is Misery's Challenge. Book 6 is Misery's Quest. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Book 7 is Misery's Triumph. Book 8 is Misery's Dilemma. And then we have book 9, the latest and greatest, the divine Misery's Child.
My God, the way that he named those books, I could tell. You know what? I understand why he wants to get away from it. He's like, these were just basically like airport novel trash, like
Yeah, and that's exactly why I see when I got on that scene, I was like, I need to write down what these are called and go through them. Just like I went through Back to the Future's newspapers because I was like, I want to see like how trashy these novels actually are. Like every one of them starts with misery something, and it just gets so funnier every time. Misery's Challenge, Misery's
That's the one that
Dilemma.
stuck. What's the difference between the challenge and the dilemma? Like the trial. Like, oh my God, I guess that's a
The
book about
trial.
she was on trial. Like there's these big life events in Misery's life. Like they'll get a whole book out of them.
Yeah, and just how the first ones they called the Adventures of Misery Chastain. It's kind of like the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like maybe about her growing up, the adventures of her life, and then
What she's gone
these are
through.
continuations. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm going to kidnap Stephen King, and I'm going to say I want you to rate every single one of these novels. Okay?
Yeah, I want to actually know all about Misery Chastain myself.
Yeah, start at the start, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve.
Oh, Steve.
I'm joking, by the way. I'm not going to kidnap Stephen King, just in case anybody thinks that's true.
You've threatened 2 Stevens on the show, Spielberg and King.
Couple of each side of the room, or a bunk bed or something.
You guys fix your work. I'll be back.
Listen, I won't take that lightly. Steven Spielberg did have a stalker at one stage, and if you ever read the story about that, it is actually terrifying.
I don't think anyone got it as bad as Jodie Foster. I mean, Jodie Foster's stalker shot the president.
Yeah, but this stalker was actually going to kidnap Spielberg and actually assault him.
Yeah,
that was his plan.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. But he got caught, went to court now.
Really?
Spielberg had to give evidence in all the court case, yeah.
Jesus. Just to get him thrown in. Hopefully he went away for a while.
I think he did. I can't remember how long, but yeah. But he checks out the utility room, and there's a few packs of pills all the while Annie's on her way back. He has to crawl across the kitchen as his wheelchair won't fit through the door frame to get to the back door, and it's locked. He sees the knife, which is setting things up for later.
Mm-hmm.
Then he hears Annie's car coming, so back to the farm. So he has to rush back. So this is great suspense in this scene, John.
Yeah, this is just where it becomes a thriller through and through. Is he going to beat her back before she comes in?
Yeah, it's caught in between Annie approaching, dropping the paper, Paul getting back in his chair to his room and locking the door. By the time he gets back there and she gets in, he's sweating, and she says, "You're dripping with perspiration. Your color is very hectic."
And he plays along very good like this, like, you know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm in pain.
My pills, Annie. I need my pills. And he's actually hiding the pills he had just stole. And he says, "It just breaks my heart to see you like this."
I'm sure it does.
But she says, this is where she says about, I recognize why, what's she say? I don't have too many people in my company or something. And Paul plays it down because he's playing this game now with her. He's trying to lure her into a false sense of security. He says, Paul says, "Who doesn't let off a bit of steam now once in a while?" And she gets his pills, puts him to bed, and gives him a notepad in case he thinks of any ideas. And she says, "Think of me as your inspiration. I have faith in you, my darling." And out of this, she goes, "Here, catch." And she blows him a kiss. See the look on his face when he catches it?
Yeah.
And she leaves, and he hides the pills, and he's like, "My darling." So once again, we cut the Buster in the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
And this time he sees Paul's car poking out of the snow.
Finally found it.
And we cut to the Colorado police chief, Sherman Douglas. Now, did you recognize who's playing Sherman Douglas?
Yeah, oh my God, I actually know who that is. It's JT Walsh, isn't it?
Was it JT Walsh?
Isn't that who it is? Plays the sheriff?
Do you know who maybe I've got him mixed up with somebody else. I thought it was somebody else.
Really? Let me double check. I could be wrong on that.
Now you mentioned
JT Walsh makes an uncredited cameo appearance as State Patrol Colonel Sherman Douglas.
Do you know who I actually thought that was?
Who?
I knew his face, but do you know who I thought it was? Michael McKean.
Is that because of Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, where he wears almost the exact same outfit?
Yeah, I thought it looked like Michael McKean.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I really do.
Yeah. Oh no, I thought I love JT Walsh. He died like tragically at a very young age, but he's in 2 movies I love: Raising Arizona and Bull Durham. I love that guy.
Well, he's in A Few Good Men.
Yeah, he's in A Few Good Men too. I think that's one of his last movies. He died in '93, and I could see why you would think it was him though, because he's wearing the same outfit.
Yeah, there you go. I almost made a fool of myself. I thought it was Michael McKean, but I knew it was someone.
Yeah, no, it's a name. Like it was. I thought you were just gonna say JT Walsh. Like you're asking me. I was like, I actually know this one. I like JT Walsh.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad I asked you rather than just saying Michael McKean is playing the sheriff.
Yeah.
And I would have believed it going forward, and that's it. But now you mentioned, see, as soon as you said it, I went, actually, I think that is who it is. He does look like him. The way like you say, the way he's dressed, what happened?
I just because in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, he's the one who pulls over them, and he's like, "Do you think that this car is safe for highway travel?" Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. I think it is for this car. I love that scene where he says, but he turns out and he says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" He says, "No," and he's like, "You were going like something 40 or something." And he's like, "Well, I guess we were, because as you can see, our speedometer is melted, so we don't know how fast we were going."
So you have no working gauges. Nope, not a one.
But the reason I also thought it was Michael McKean as well is because he's in Spinal Tap.
Yeah. He's so good in Spinal Tap. I just rewatched that a few weeks ago. Speaking of Rob Reiner, there we go.
And Short Circuit too.
Short Circuit too. He was just recently so good, different character in Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
Chuck McGill. He was so good in that, and really got a kind of like brought his career back to resurgence. He was great, but he was so funny back in the 80s.
Yeah. I loved him in Short Circuit too. He was brilliant. So he was.
You know what got me watching Spinal Tap this time around? It never got me before. Like it's when he's just going through making the whole. It's not him. It's the other. I always forget what the other actor's name. He's like talking about making the music. Nigel, and how it's inspired him. And he's like, "What's the name of that one? Oh, Lick My Love Pump."
It's called Lick My Love Pump.
I actually laughed. I was like,
he's playing the piano. It's like this kind of like real emotional piece, isn't it? It's so long since I watched it. You had mentioned that. You had mentioned that in one of was it our Godfather episode on Axis, and I didn't mention it, but during that episode. But Spinal Tap is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite comedy of all time. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think it just gets funnier every time I watch it.
Well, for me, like I told you, I hated that movie when I was a kid because I saw it too young. But now when I watched that last week, I was laughing the whole time. Or not last week, but like a few weeks ago, I'm like, this movie's it's hysterical. It really just, and the setup, like you said, for that joke, he's going through like, oh yeah, it's Beethoven's Sympathy, whatever. Then I was doing a little bit of Mozart in here, and he's like, and then he reveals the name of the song. It's the perfect setup and a perfect payoff to that joke.
It's just him on the piano, just playing this soulful. It's not he's humming, isn't it? And then he goes, "That's I can't remember what Rob Reiner says. He says something like it's a very emotional piece or something like that. What do you call it?" And he's like, the way he stops and goes, "It's Lick My Love Pump."
And it's straight face. That's what makes it so perfect.
Very much like I'm really influenced by Mozart and Bach, and it's sort of in between though. It's really Bach piece, really.
What do you call this?
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
Deadpan, serious. Yeah. But how can you not like Sax Farm Woman?
Yeah.
And Tonight I'm Gonna Rock You. Not a dry seat in the house.
Oh my god, the song when they're singing, the songs are just absolutely hysterical. Going through the album cover, and it's like, well, how come they were allowed to do that? Well, they said that the way that you guys did it were actually abusing the woman. They're like,
That's right. It's like, I love what he says. He says to your man, whenever just went off on a different direction here, because I love Spinal Tap. I know a lot of quotes about it, but I love the story where he says they said the album cover was sexist. And he was like, "What's wrong with being sexy?" And he's like, "Sexist."
Sexist. What's wrong with being sexy?
Like, what's wrong with being sexy? Like, it's sexist. Sexist. I get sick and quote that whole movie, and we'd be here for another hour.
Well, I know that your buddy will be watching this. Who's always been asking us. George will
Yeah.
who's always been asking us. One day we'll have to do it because it will
Yeah.
probably take forever to get
Yeah.
through it because we'll be laughing the whole time.
Me and George love it. When we used to work together, we used to quote it all the time. And this we had a tape of the songs. We used to listen to the songs. I have the albums, so I do. It's amazing. If you listen to the words of songs like "Tonight I'm Gonna Rock You," it's it's really yeah.
It's
good
almost
stuff.
poetic. I mean, it's sad, but like this is a Rob Reiner movie we're talking about. But like he started out with This Is Spinal Tap, and then his
Yes.
final movie, like right before he passed, was This Is Spinal Tap too.
Right enough. Yeah, that's true.
I haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah.
it's I get very afraid of like comedy sequels, especially legacy ones.
Yeah, I know exactly. And speaking of Angelica Houston, she's in Spinal Tap.
Yeah, she is. And you know who else? I love her because she's a great person, but I can't fucking stand her voice. Fran Drescher is in This Is Spinal Tap also.
Who's that now?
She's she got the Italian voice with that very like nasally kind of voice like this. She
Oh,
was the
yeah,
nanny. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the one of the album record producers or something at the start, isn't she?
Yeah. Her voice drives me fucking nuts because I don't know if you ever heard of the sitcom The Nanny, very popular sitcom. I despise it.
Yeah, I know her face and I know her voice. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, her voice really it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. And it's a shame because like she's actually one of the heads of the Screen Actors Guild. Like she's like the head of SAG. Like she's one of the big union reps for them. And like, so I've heard interviews with her, but I'm just like, I can't listen to her speak. I feel bad, but I just can't.
Yeah. But great show. We'll have to do that at some stage, John. We'll have to do
Right.
it. But right, where was I? It's real off.
I don't remember.
Yes, sorry. The cop. So, police chief. They presume Paul Sheldon is dead. They think he's buried somewhere out in the snow after crawling from his vehicle. And they say they will find him after the first thaw. All right, then.
All right, yeah, we'll take a. Isn't that so like I don't know what's the way. That's like so dark. Like, yeah, we'll just wait. We know his body's out there somewhere, but we'll just wait till it thaws out. Like, we just know he's dead. Like the way he said it, like, yeah, he's gone. There's no chance he's alive. But what I don't understand is then they go over to Buster looking at the car, and like he kind of figures it out that like somebody like pulled him out. Why doesn't he go tell the cop?
I know, and this is like one of the flaws in this movie. It's just so kind of like, we'll just wait for the thaw, and then you hear him in the background saying, unless the animals didn't get them first.
Well, that's fucked up.
He's probably
which
just,
is a strong possibility. He
dead
says
out there somewhere. Yeah, he's just dead out there somewhere. We'll just wait for all this snow to just thaw out. And you're right, Buster's over there. He sees the crowbar has been used to wedge open the door, and he actually says to his wife, he says, he doesn't believe them, and he believes somebody pulled them out.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you like? Okay, it's just you and this is your deputy, so you guys are just gonna do this whole search by yourselves. Like, tip them off. Maybe they can call up the FBI, get some more people out there. Like, be like, hey, listen, I'm pretty sure. Look at the Trove. Maybe he just didn't realize. Like, yeah, he seems like an asshole, but maybe he didn't realize.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Well, they may think maybe it's just damaged in the crash. You know what I mean?
That's
the door
true.
flew open, he crawled out, or he was damaged in the crash. He opened
Maybe
the door
he's
himself, crawled out.
maybe Buster's just assuming they would just blow him off and do what you just said. Like, oh no, it's from the crash, and like so he's like, I got to take this into my own hands.
Yeah. This is not just a car accident. So Paul makes. We got a quick scene here, John, of Paul making a pouch out of the paper, and he's putting the powder in from the painkillers in it. And then another quick scene of him sitting at the typewriter, and he just types fuck because he doesn't know what to write. He replaces the page and he starts typing away. So I have this next scene of Annie comes in and tells him to throw it all out. It's not worthy of him, except for the part of naming the gravedigger after me. You can leave that in.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, an absolute narcissist.
But it's probably the fucking gravedigger of all the characters. She's gonna be the gravedigger.
She's literally digging his grave, essentially.
Yeah. But I also thought there's a double meaning there. She was the one that came up with bringing her back to life, so she's the one that's got to resurrect her.
Yeah, because I'm not doing it.
So Annie then goes on to express her dislike of cliffhangers.
Yep, which she explains this whole story. But here's this is another thing that bothers, just shows a flaw in her mindset. She hates that she got ripped off from the week before because that's not what they saw. But she wants Paul to do that to his book for her.
Well, actually, she mentions, I didn't write it down, what it is he has done. And she says, no, she was buried in the ground at the end. That's where you got to start. So he was revising the end. And she went, you can't do that. You've got to start when she's in the ground.
Yeah, she explains it, but I always kind of like never kind of like bought in because that's like essentially what she gets upset about, isn't it? Though, like that they would trick her. Like that's not why she's so upset with those picture shows.
Well, the thing with those picture shows, John, is that, as she explains, for example, what they would do is, I'm not sure if you're familiar yourself, it's like, say a train was going off the side of a cliff, right? It would literally be going off the side of the cliff with
So
the
literal
character,
cliffhanger.
with the character in it, with the character in it.
Mhm.
I would say, come back next week to see what happens. But when you come back next week, you're waiting for it to go over the edge. But before it even got to the edge, he would jump out.
Oh, so okay, so it's like they're kind of like they did kind of mislead you.
So they misled you. It didn't, in the episode before that, he was literally going over the edge inside the train. But when they brought you back, he jumped out before the train even got to the edge. And she's like, that's what she said. They just cheated us.
I stood right up and started shouting, "This isn't what happened last week. Have you all got amnesia?"
Didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. That's what she's saying about the book. Now, I didn't write down all the dialogue. She's basically saying that he's revising the end of the last novel, that things, changing things that happened. And she's coming and went, no, you can't. That's already happened. You can't change that. She's saying, no, you have to. She's in the ground at the end. You have to start there. How are you going to bring her back? How are you going to get her out of the ground? I think that's what she's saying.
I just don't know how you can do that without feeling like you're actually still cheating the people who read your last book.
I know what you're saying. You've ended a book where she's died.
Yeah. How can you bring her back to life? Like, it just doesn't make any, like it would, think about if that was a movie, if somebody died at the end of a movie, then the next movie they're resurrected. It's like, that doesn't make sense. They were dead. It's not fucking Freddy Krueger. Like, he comes back every time.
Michael Crichton done it in Jurassic Park.
That is true.
He killed bloody Jeff Goldblum's character, Ian Malcolm, and then he's in the next book as the main character. and he went, well, you didn't actually see him die.
Well, that's actually
one of the characters actually said, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah, that's more than implied. That pretty much makes you believe he's dead.
Yeah. So I know what you're saying, but I also get where she's coming from in this, and it's totally insane. It's crazy. And as she says here, I know that, Mr. Man. They also called him cereals, and that's stupid,
I'm not stupid,
Yeah. And she also says here as well about them cheating us. Have you all got amnesia? So I had made a note here. So I think this is where Paul realizes that he has to write what she wants, not what he thinks.
Exactly.
It's all about just pleasing her now. It's not about writing a novel for the masses. It's just about what she wants. Give her what she wants. She'll be happy. Keep her quiet,
He's got to try and manipulate her at this point.
Yeah.
Because how is this book getting published anyway if everyone thinks he's dead? So it doesn't even matter.
You see, I always think anyway that, if he had wrote this, well, look, as it unfolds, it turns out that when he finishes the book, she's gonna kill the two of them, right? And then we'll get there, but then I think things change with the point where she won't go through with the suicide thing, the murder suicide thing, that she will just keep him there forever and probably have him just writing misery novels for her for the rest of his life. That's what she will do. Once he's finished this, she'll make him write another one and another one and another one. That's what she will do. But obviously, when the cop gets killed, then the murder-suicide pact is back on again.
I mean, I think I'd rather that than to keep writing misery books, especially if I'm putting myself in his shoes. He wanted to be done writing misery books.
Yeah. Well, I think the gold stage was to get the fuck out of there.
Oh, yeah. I think from this point on, it's all about manipulating her so he can get out.
Yeah. So after a snow montage, Annie's reading the revised book, and this is where he is. He's sitting there, John, and he says,
Is it fair? Should I continue?
"Oh, Paul, you better. Misery was in a coma due to a bee sting and buried alive."
Oh, well, that works. That works, I guess.
Yeah. listen, I've heard stories. There's been stories of people being buried alive.
Oh, I've heard that happening. It's not like it's like it probably happens a few times a year where people think they're dead, and
Yeah.
they're not actually dead. They just had their heart rate slowed down to the slowest point.
Sure, isn't there a thing about they used to bury people with like bells?
Yeah.
People woke up, they could shake the bells, and people would hear them. Or I used to bury them with like air hose going up to the
Surface.
ground, the surface, yeah, just in case they were still alive. If
I
people were
imagine
like-
back at like before technology got to where it was, like that probably mistakes like that probably happened all the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he's devised this idea that she was in a coma and they buried her, and didn't write down the rest of why they dug her up. I think it's irrelevant, but they dug her up. She's back to life again. She's back there, and she says, "Oh, Paul, can I read each chapter when you finish? I can fill in the ends."
Oh man.
Oh fuck! And then she's like, "Misery's alive! Misery's alive!"
She's like spinning around there and she's so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, Misery's alive! Misery's alive! Oh, it's so romantic.
It's like, it's alive, it's alive. And she says, it's so romantic. Oh, this house is going to be filled with romance. I'm going to put on my Liberace records. Paul says he likes Liberace, and she's going to play them all day to inspire him. So that's when he asks to have dinner with her tonight and celebrate Misery's return. I couldn't have done it without you. Oh, Paul, it would be an honor.
And now Paul's got a plan for his big moment here.
He does. In the sheriff's office, Buster arrives with a bag of Paul Sheldon books to see if he can get into the mind of the author.
That's one way to go about it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, he's just sitting reading all his books now.
What a job he's got, huh?
I don't know, being paid to read Paul Sheldon books.
Yeah.
And but I love that wee scene as well, where like his wife Virginia's on the phone and she's like, he must be having an affair, and then he walks through the door and she's like, oh, hold on, here he comes, and she says, oh, he wants to know who you're having an affair with. And then she looks at the books and says something like, oh, does she love romance novels?
Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah, and he's like, it's that kind of spice that keeps this relationship going, or something. He says,
yeah.
So I do like that they're not just this one-dimensional cardboard cutout of a couple. You know what I mean? Trying to solve this case. You know, there's something else kind of going on there.
No, they have like an older couple who's probably been together forever, and like they said, like like this kind of like going back and forth with each other is kind of like keeping the spark alive with them. They're clearly still like banging each other. Good for them.
Yeah, and not only that, it makes you feel a lot more empathy for the cop when he gets shot.
Yeah, because you know that he's got a wife who truly loves him. That's going to be heartbroken.
Yeah, before his time, even if he's old, he's still a lot of life in him.
Yeah, I mean, he's still the sheriff. It's not like he's passed it along.
Yeah, and he's head of the International Fishing Club and all that business or something.
Typically, he's got a nice, happy life.
Yeah, Bassmasters. Right, Ghostbusters 2.
Yep.
Dr. Bankman, your show was one of my two favorite shows. And he's like, oh, really? What was the other one? Bassmasters. He says, it's a fishing show. And he's like, yeah, I know that one. Anyway, that night, Paul has dinner with Annie.
Mm-hmm.
He's charming her. Now, I love how he's sitting in front of a shrine, John, with this picture over his shoulder.
It's got to be surreal for him.
It's got to be surreal for her.
Yeah, I mean, for her, like, yeah, this has got to be the greatest moment of her life, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I was like, she's probably envisioned this moment many times. She's probably sat eating her dinner, looking at that Paul Sheldon picture, imagining him having dinner with her.
You think she probably brings it over to the table?
Possibly. Just sets it there. So I don't think she cooks food for him. Like,
that'd be weird.
The picture.
I mean, then again, she's a psycho, so who knows?
Who knows exactly? And Paul suggests a toast to misery and asks for candles so that Annie can leave the table and he can put the painkillers in her drink. And I love how he's keeping her talking so he can hear how far away she is. And he says there, excuse me, he says there, do you study decorating or do you just have a flair? Like the stated place.
He didn't know where else to freaking like go with that, just to keep her talking.
And she's like, "Oh, I just picked stuff up over time." And she comes back in and she's like, "If anybody had told me one day I'd be having a candlelit dinner with Paul Sheldon in my own house, I would have checked both legs to see which one was being pulled." And he's like, he's kind of like,
I know, he's just fucking leading her on.
he is, yeah. And Paul says, "The misery and the Annie Wilkes who brought her back to life." And Annie's like, "Oh, Paul, I get goosebumps every time I think about it." And like that's literal. You know,
Yeah.
she suggested it, and the grave digger's called Annie Wilkes.
So she literally brought him back to life. Her back to life.
Literally dug her up. And she knocks the candle, then the wine all over the table. Now, I always think she suspected he done something to the drink.
So did I. I was going to ask you myself if you thought it was on purpose or not, because I always thought it was on purpose.
Yeah, I think it's left ambiguous, but I do always think when I watch this movie, she is smart and she suspected he's doing something that.
And speaking of like great acting, like James Caan's reaction, like, you know, how he was just all so warm and bubbly, how he immediately like shuts down because he's like, that was my shot. Like, I've been building up to this and this is what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, exactly. You know, because I was looking at my notes. I 100% agree with you because I just want to see what I wrote down about that. I was like, he's totally dejected. I love how he's just frozen.
He's
all
just like,
that, yeah. But all that was like in his mind, John. That's his one chance because he's been saving them pills maybe for weeks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and he just watched it literally fall on the table in front of him.
Mm-hmm. That's just like he was probably gonna knock her out. I don't know if it was enough to kill her, but maybe. And try and get out of the house.
I would hope if he was smart enough, he would have done that and then knocked her in the head with the freaking typewriter and then got out of there so she couldn't chase.
Yeah. I just don't think he would have been that malicious. I think he probably put enough in there. He thought to knock her out, and if it kills her, it kills her. He doesn't give a shit, but it gives him time to retrieve her keys, maybe get to her Jeep and drive out of there.
That's probably his original plan, but I'd just be like, I mean, I guess I'm looking at it through hindsight. Maybe he doesn't think she's capable of like killing him, but I would think that I got to do everything I can to get away from her and make sure she can't follow.
Well, at this stage, she hasn't threatened death. She hasn't broke his ankles either.
Mm-hmm.
At this stage, it's just been, you know, keeping him hostage, forcing him to write a book and flying off the handle. I mean, she hasn't actually, say she hasn't caused him physical harm. She broke the thing, but it was above his head. She didn't hit him with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think at this stage, he is probably thinking, like, I've got to do something to get out of here. I'm never getting out. And he's probably just thinking that, as I say, hopefully it knocks her unconscious, but if it kills her, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, which you can't blame him for.
Mm-hmm. That's my thoughts anyway. The root here. Now he's stuck having a meal with her.
Yeah, now he's got to finish dinner and actually talk to her the whole time.
He's got it, yes. It's almost like a date he's on now. Because his plan went out the window at the very start of the meal. And it's like, to misery. That's what I found funny. I just thought of him having to sit there through that whole thing now.
And now pretend and like actually be interested in her stories and everything. Yeah, it's probably terrible. A nightmare.
Yeah, absolute nightmare. So now we have this typing montage, John, and I think Liberace's playing in the background. And he's working out with a 50-pound clunker of a typewriter.
He's got building up his arm strength.
And we cut the next scene where this thunderstorm starts. And I made a note here. Shouldn't the snow have washed away with all that rain?
You would think. I would have thought so.
Yeah, but it's like just perfectly on the roof and all. It's not slushy. I know it could maybe snow again, but at this moment in time, it's like, hammering down and that snow's going nowhere.
It's pouring. Like that would have melted all the snow.
Yeah. Yeah. He's no James Cameron.
Nope.
Attention for detail. Anyway, so did you ever hear that story about Titanic?
What part?
So what do you call this guy? He's like a really smart professor. Surname Tyson?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I think that's him, isn't he? He's like a really smart professor.
Yeah,
and he says he met James Cameron, and he told him, he says to him, for being somebody for a stickler for attention to detail. You certainly got those stars on at the end of Titanic. And he was like, what? You know, when Rose was looking up at the stars,
Yeah.
and he told him the exact star profile on April 14th, 15th, 1912. So when they done the restoration, I think for the 3D version, he changed the skyline to what he told him.
Oh my god! Like I wouldn't even like if like Neil deGrasse Tyson told me that I wouldn't have been like offended. I'd be like, yeah, I just didn't care about it. But I guess James Cameron, I probably bothered him.
I bothered him because he's a stickler for attention to detail. Like, you know,
gotta be perfect.
Especially Titanic. Yeah. But who the hell notices that?
Neil deGrasse Tyson and probably 3 other people on planet Earth.
Yeah, one of them's James. Well, he didn't notice at the time, but James Cameron would notice now. You know, so yeah, I thought it was a funny story, but at the same time, like, if you're meeting James Cameron, why the hell would you tell him? Who does that? Who watches Titanic and goes, let me look at the star, but this where the stars were back then?
I know, exactly. Like, why would you even look that up? Let me look up what the star pattern was of that night in 1912. It's like, who the fuck cares?
I know. Anyway.
Makes no
so,
sense.
yeah, no. So she comes into the room depressed. See her again, very depressed. This is, you know, you see that she's a manic depressive, John.
Yeah, exactly. She's very moody.
Says, here's your pills. Paul asks what's wrong. And she says, the rain. Sometimes it gives me the blues. And she tells him she loves him and knows he doesn't love her. The book's near finished. His legs are getting better. And soon he'll be wanting to leave. And she pulls a gun out of her robe pocket. I have this gun. Sometimes I think of using it. I better go now. I may put bullets in it. I love how it's just monotone.
I know her voice never changes, and the way that she's walking around the room the whole time, like all slow and like mopey, and it's like, and he's just got to be there, like, what the fuck?
Like in a trance.
Yeah,
like she's like in a trance.
Yeah, and she got the gun. I might put bullets in it. It's like, don't put bullets in it.
I better go now. I might put bullets in it. She walks outside in the rain in her robe. Actually, just before that, I put a note here. So I had to put a note here. Paul's face. I can't remember, but it's fucking. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know. And that's when he realizes, when the book is done, she's gonna kill the both of them. That's when he realizes that.
Got no shot.
Yeah. So she goes out in the rain and drives off to her car. Now, 2 things. She went off in the night before when she found out about Misery dying at the end of the novel. And she then came back with this kind of plan. You're going to burn this, you know, nasty manuscript, and you're going to write Misery's Return. Bring Misery back to life, Paul. You made a mistake. I forgive you, but you're going to correct it. So now she drives off into the night again, and she comes back with another plan.
Yep.
So it's almost like she drives. Does she just drive just to try and get the thoughts clear in her head? Does she go and look to God, pray, and say, look, give me an answer? And then this shit comes into her head. I mean, what do you think?
Both are possibilities. I always thought the driving around one, but she is so intertwined with God. I could see her praying to God and like looking for the answers and then believing God gave her the answer.
Told her this, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was she knew he was out before. She knows he was out. Maybe that's why she suspected that he put something in her drink. Maybe she knew he was hiding the pills. Maybe she knew.
She's smart enough to maybe know, like, he took a good amount. He took like a handful of them. Like, for her to not notice that, like, she noticed the penguin. She probably notices that too.
Yeah. So she was on him. She was probably just waiting to see what he was up to. So again, she leaves during the night. She knows he's going to leave her room.
Yep.
So it's a setup too.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I think.
She said she's not stupid, you know, and I don't think she is.
No, she's not.
No.
Definitely not. But then we just cut to Paul in the kitchen taking the kitchen knife, because right now he realizes she's off the rails. She's going to fucking kill me. I need to defend myself. And or cut to Buster in bed with his wife, reading Misery's trial. And for some reason, I don't understand. This is another bit I don't understand about this movie, John, is this line he reads out. Why does this jump out at him? What has this got to do with anything that he has seen about Paul Sheldon disappearing? There is a justice higher than that of man will be judged by him. I don't understand why that line jumps out at him.
See, I always thought that that's more describes Annie.
But he doesn't have a suspect. He doesn't have
No, I don't know what this is like. Kind of like a plot hole in the movie, like earlier. Like it more describes Annie, but he doesn't know that about Annie. So it's more for us almost to understand Annie a little bit more. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, but obviously it leads him to Annie, right? And we'll get to that. But in the actual case of in the path of the movie, all he's got is a guy that's went missing and nothing else. He's got a car. He's got no body. He knows that somebody's opened the door. He is not aware of Annie Wilkes. He's not aware of her fandom. He's not aware of her crimes. I mean, there's 9 Misery books. 8 of them. I mean, the new one's just been published. This is like the 4th or 5th in a series, Misery's Trial. Why does that line jump out at him? I don't understand why, and it's never. Well, we know why because it catches her, but why that lane? I mean, I just don't understand why he thought that lane was so important in his investigation.
I'm not too sure. It doesn't make sense from his standpoint.
But do you see where I'm coming from? Like, I'm not being
yeah
funny about it. Like,
no, I agree. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, look, I understand the plot device, but when you look at it like that, you go, I don't understand it. If 8 books, 9 books, why that one lane makes him go, oh,
Let me write that one down. Yeah,
strange.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
it's almost like we needed to have that in there so we know how he got to where he was going, but they didn't explain how he got there.
But there's part of me that thinks as well, John, and it's really funny because when I was taking some of my notes, there's an actual shooting script up there, and I wouldn't mind actually reading it because he in the original script, I read the end of it. He actually crawls out of the house and lies outside till the morning, and then the cops come along and find him, and he tells them that she done it. She killed the sheriff, and she's in the house. And when they come out of the house to say she's not there, and it cuts to the next scene, and that scene with Marcia, he actually explains, when they found her body, it finally ended for me. You know what I mean? So there's been, whether or not that was filmed, I don't know. There's stuff in the script that isn't in the movie, like all movies. Things get jiggled about, changed, and things like that. We understand that, but it kind of got me thinking before I even seen that. Sometimes I feel as if there's scenes out of sequence in this film, and I also feel as if the Hoblin scene probably happened earlier. I don't know why. I just feel like it happened earlier because when that scene happens, which we'll soon get to, the next thing is like he's like I know he's got the plaster like a plaster Paris on his ankles, but it feels like an awful lot of time would have had to have gone by for him to get to that healing stage. I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm wrong, but it just fades out, comes back in, and it's almost like we're months down the lane.
Yeah, we never get a full description about how much time has passed through this entire thing. I mean, obviously, we see some montages of things going, like where he's typing and everything, so we know a lot of times have passed. But like, the hobbling scene happens way towards the end, and like, there had to be some sort of healing process from that, or like that would have been a really bad infection.
So I just feel like that scene might have happened earlier in the movie, but they've moved it towards the end. But I could be totally wrong. I would love to find out.
I'm interested in that too.
So I might look at the reading script and see what it says, because I also want to know as well what happened to the sheriff's body, because she starts coming down them stairs and he's supposed to be lying there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where did the body go?
Where'd the body go? She comes down them, and she would have had to walk on his back.
Yeah.
So there's things like that I'm interested in.
Yeah, they're probably. I would guarantee stuff got cut, but
yeah. So Paul's out of his room, going down the hall when he sees the Memory Lane book laying open with newspaper clippings with his name. So that draws his attention. He goes in and he sees the one John Everett, and he's down. To my Detective Columbo work on this. Just one more thing, John. It says, where is Paul Sheldon? We've seen that one before. The other one says, Paul Sheldon presumed dead. Missing author's car found buried in snow. So he flicks through the book from the start, and there's pictures of Annie when she was young. Then we get the newspaper clippings. Local investment banker dies. Carl Wilkes plunges to death.
It's all starting to add up now.
But then you're seeing a trend here. Top nurse student falls to her death. Right? Then there's one. Annie M. Wilkes, although the picture says Annie C. Wilkes below it. Weird.
Yeah.
Typo. Garner's nursing school honors.
Nursing school. Yeah.
Honors, yep. So, and then it says Annie Wilkes, the head intensive care unit. And there are obituaries taped beside that. So this is dark stuff, John.
Yeah.
And then the obituaries say former high school coach. Well, the obituary is a former high school coach Dan in the hospital, and it's called used car king, dies in the hospital as well. And then another headline we see here, newspaper clipping, says veterinarian pediatrician dies while in coma at local hospital. And the newspaper clipping beside it says Wilkes named county head maternity nurse. And then there's a in remembrance card below it. So now we're starting to see the full picture
of who this person really is.
The history of her life. She's a mass murderer and she's killing people to progress her own career.
Yep.
Starting with her father.
That if you can kill your father, but maybe her father abused her, like you said earlier. So like maybe that's like kind of like what started the ease of her being so able to like kill somebody like this, even though we don't feel like she would be able to do that. But again, like that's the kind of personality that she has.
Yep. And there's the first ones are like plunging to their deaths, just pushing them to their deaths. You know what I mean? Push them off, wherever it is she is. And then the hospital, maybe switching off machines or tampering machines or whatever.
Putting something in the IV bag, who knows?
Yeah. There was a case in Britain recently of a nurse that's been jailed for killing children, babies in hospital. What
a fucked up piece of shit.
He's killed several babies in the hospital by putting things into their, injecting them.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible.
Sick, twisted.
Sick people in this world.
Evil, John. So this woman isn't just dangerously a dangerous obsessed fan. She's a psychotic serial killer, and it goes on. Baby Lucy dies after 5 weeks struggle in hospital. Second newborn death at Aldridge County Memorial. Then we see one saying nurse questioned in hospital, infant deaths. Picture, and then there's pictures of Misery the pig. And maternity nurse behind bars, dragon lady arrested in recent baby deaths. So he's got a full picture of what he is dealing with here.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, it's worse than I thought.
Yep. Yeah. It's this. They turned into a pure nightmare for him. As if it wasn't bad already, that it was just an obsessive fan. He now knows this woman has murdered and is capable of murder and has murdered the most innocent in this world. What the hell is she going to do to him?
Exactly. She's gonna murder you.
So he's in bed practicing pulling the knife from a sling. The rain's pouring down. There's thunder and lightning. Real horror movie stuff now, John. And when Annie arrives back, she goes to his door, but doesn't go in and moves on. He hides the knife under the mattress. He says, "See you in the morning." But why didn't he just call her in? Say, "Annie, can I help? Annie, come in a wee second.
Maybe
I've got something to show you."
Maybe she would have been more suspicious if he called her in, so he wanted to make it natural.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe if she just comes to him in the morning, she's least suspecting, she's unaware, she's kind of not expecting anything, as you say. Just
that's my theory.
Guard.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Paul wakes in the night to find Annie in his room, looking at him. She injects him with something to knock him out. So she
runs at him and puts it in his arm.
Oh no, that's later.
Oh, that's right.
This is where he kind of like just wakes up and she's just standing there and there's like lightning and it's really scary. She's just standing there.
Oh, you're right. Yes, I got that mixed up. My fault.
Yeah, no, it's grand, mate. I know what scene you're talking about. So Paul wakes the next day disoriented, and I love how you can see here love connection in the background, but it's not actually on. It's just in his head, like he's coming from this sleep.
Yeah, he's probably in a really deep sleep.
Do you ever have a dream or sleep like that where you kind of wake up and whatever you're dreaming of is still lingering around in your head?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I can remember my dreams every now and again anyway.
Yeah, I remember them sometimes, not all the very, very rarely.
No, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to hang on to him.
Yeah, very rarely. Um, so Annie says, Paul, I know you've been out.
Mhm.
And he's tied to the bed, but he denies it. And Annie tells him her ceramic penguin always points due south. He grapples for the knife, but she has it. She says she's found his key and produces the pin.
Uh,
We have this big speech he gives now, John, when she pulls the knife out. Is this what you're looking for? I know you've been out twice, Paul. At first, I couldn't figure out how you did it, but last night, I found your key. I know I left my scrapbook out. I can imagine what you may be thinking of me. But you see, Paul, it's all okay. Last night, it came so clear. I realized you just need more time. Eventually, you'll come to accept the idea of being here. So she's came to the conclusion after her drive that, you know what? See, instead of killing the both of us, I'll just disable him so he has to stay and he'll get used to it.
I mean, in her mind, it's a very logical plan. I don't think it's going to work out that well. I don't think Paul's going to be too thrilled. But hey, all right, at least you worked it out with yourself.
Yeah, but as long as she's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, Paul, do you know about the early days at the Kimberley Diamond mines? And you know that he knows.
Oh,
You know he knows what's coming because he's a history student.
Yeah.
She mentions it later on. Do you know what they did to the native workers who stole diamonds? Don't worry, they didn't kill them. That would be like junking your Mercedes just because I had a broken spring. No, they had to make sure they could go on working, but they also had to make sure they could never run away. The operation was called hobbling. He's pleading with her. And John, I still can't watch this scene.
You can't watch it?
No.
I try and see how much I can see that ankle break before they cut away because it's only like 12 frames, I think, is what they said.
God's sake.
It's for the best.
Eddie, please.
Yeah.
Very fast. But you could see that ankle go, and it is brutal.
Oh, man. I think the last time I watched this, I did watch it, and because I wanted to see the reaction of the person who watched it with me. But see, when I watched this last week, I turned away. I was like, I don't know. The older I get, the more queasy I get. And I was like, I cannot watch this. And even when I was taking notes the other night, when I came to this scene, I looked away again. I'm not doing that.
Fair enough. I mean, it is gruesome. And his reaction is like, obviously, that's got to be terrible.
The crunch.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine because it's like an instant break like that it's probably shock that he would feel. Like, and it probably might not even hurt that bad. But like, still, like, it's got to be petrifying.
Just, do you ever like have a really bad fall and you just feel ill afterwards?
Yeah.
You know? I imagine that's what it would be like. You see DJ acts so well, the way his face goes so red and he kind of does pass out, the way his eyes are, and he starts convulsing a bit. She's like, it's for the best.
Imagine after woman just hobbled you, it's for the best. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Nearly over, my dear. Just one more. And that's when she's like, God, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a funny way of showing love, lady.
Yeah, and this is her way. I always think she's getting off on this.
Probably, she's got to be getting something out of this, like being in control, other than her love for him.
Yeah, having the power over this great man.
Yeah, she likes that he depends on her.
Yeah, that she's part of his life now.
Yeah,
she needs him.
Yep, he needs her.
Yeah, fade to black. Sorry, John, go ahead.
I said just brutal.
Brutal. It is brutal, mate. And we fade to black. And as I put a note here, her intention is now to keep him there forever. Because you got to think about it, John. What's it gonna be when them heels ankles heal up again? Is she gonna do the same thing? Is she gonna break his knees this time?
Yeah. What's he gonna do in this situation? He's got to just find the way out because she'll just keep doing that. She's gonna find a way to make sure he's always in bed for the rest of his life and writing misery books, like you said, for her.
Yeah. That's basically it. That's she's gonna want. You heard her saying it. You're gonna be better soon. You're gonna want to leave. It's like, I know shit.
I've wanted to leave since I got here.
I know. Look, sick. That says you're gonna want to leave soon. I was like, yeah. And he was like, why would I want to? He's still playing her at that stage earlier on. He was like, why would I want to do that? I like it. I like it here.
and she knows that he's lying through his teeth too.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, a car near pulls out in front of Annie while she's driving into town. You cock-a-doodie! And the sheriff sees this, so it raises his suspicions for some strange reason. And I don't know why. I mean,
Buster's just running on pure instinct at this point.
He bloody must be, because he's like, he goes outside, no, and then he goes over. So anyway, I'll get that in a minute. So he goes back to his office and he finds the post-it note which he had written down the quote from Misery's trial, and he says to Virginia, "I have a system here," and he finds the post-it note, and she makes a comment. I can't remember what it says, and he's like, "There's that spice again," but Buster's now in the library looking through old newspaper records. And I put a note down here, John. Do you think he came along Doc Brown commended?
Probably. He's got enough records down there.
Like, mission accomplished. But he comes across the articles seen in Annie's memory lane scrapbook. But there's one that says Dragon Lady claims innocence, and there's the quote. I just don't. How did he make all this connection? I don't get it.
I'll tell you what, Buster's in the wrong field. He should be a detective, like a head detective of a big police department. He shouldn't be the sheriff of the small town, because he doesn't need much to solve these crimes.
No, I mean he should be a clairvoyant or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's really good at his job.
Yeah. That's the only problem I have with this film. I just don't understand how he made this connection.
Yeah, there's a lot of leaps, like film logic in here, I guess, because like no one's gonna get there from these little crumbs that you got.
Yeah, it might have been better if he had been in the store and she was there buying the book, or said, remember when she said about, I said that my favorite, my when I was buying the paper, the girl at the store, my favorite author has an N in his name.
Yeah, like that would have made sense.
That would have been made sense for him to go, and then maybe he could have went and asked, who does she buy his books? And then then you could have that conversation he had with your man in the store, saying, "Oh, she gets me to put one aside," and then that would be, I gotta go and talk to her.
Mm-hmm. That's when he should have put the pieces, but that would have made more sense, actually, him putting those pieces together then, not like with these quotes and everything. It's leaps in logic.
Books and picking one quote out of 8 books and going, that's the one, and just so happens the one she said when she was on trial for murder.
Like you said, clairvoyant. That's what she is. That's what he is.
Just one more thing. Imagine Columbo was in this film.
I'm just gonna say, what if Columbo was the one in the store this time instead?
You can't shoot Columbo.
No, he can't. He can't come back then.
See, right at the end, Columbo would have walked in and went, "Miss Wilkes, you can't shoot through a bulletproof jacket." Now, let's go through this again. You found Mr. Sheldon in the snow. Then what happened?
You sound a little bit like Dick Miller from the Terminator and Gremlins, actually.
I'll have to work on that one, John.
It's just what you see, pal.
And then at the end, he would turn to Paul Sheldon and go, "My wife loves your work." What if Annie Wilkes was his wife? My wife's a big fan.
My wife's a big fan.
She's got all your books, Mr. Sheldon.
Maybe that's why he walked out on her. He's like, you're crazy.
That would be so good. Columbo meets Misery.
Yeah.
Amazing. So anyway, we cut back to the Wilkes farm, and Annie arrives back, and she's like, "Hi, pumpkin," and Paul just out the window.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, such a kidder." And she knows. She's like, "Come on, Missy." So she knows. Oh, he's annoyed at me at the minute, but he'll get over it.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
It's only a couple of broken ankles.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
Big deal, fuck's sake. You've had worse.
What's the big deal, right?
Yeah, he had worse, didn't he? He had broken legs.
I mean, I guess. I think the ankles are worse than the whole broken legs, because that ankle, I mean, the bone's gone. There's no bone.
The thing with the legs is, He had multiple fractures, but he was unconscious. It happened so quick. He was knocked unconscious. He only ever felt the aftermath of it, whereas this is like, healthy ankles, awake, no painkillers, and anticipating that second one.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah. So Buster visits the general store and he asks Pete, the owner, did Miss Wilkes buy the new Paul Sheldon book? And he says, are you kidding? Every time that fella writes a new book, she has me set aside the first copy. He also tells him she's been buying paper, the type and kind.
And that's when he walks out the door real quick. And like, that's it.
He says, is Miss Wilkes in any trouble or something? Does he? And she says, nope, none at all.
Yep. Meanwhile, he's like kind of giving off to the meter, like, yeah, she is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Buster travels to the Wilkes farm, and Paul sees him coming. This is where Annie rushes in and injects him with a sedative.
Yeah. This is the one I was thinking about earlier, where she runs in and like, they're fighting a little bit, but she still gets the better of him.
Yeah. It's quite scary how she just comes straight in, but she gets the better of him. Because she ejects him with it, and then he kind of slowly loses consciousness. But it's tough, fighting in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and I mean, he's only got his upper body strength, where she's putting all his weight on his upper body. So the one strength he has, that's it.
Yeah. One thing I noted later in the main fight is that, when she goes for him, because he's on wheels, like he can't get any leverage from his legs or his waist or anything. Do you know what I mean?
He's smart enough to pull back and push himself forward really quick.
Yeah, that's right. And just dive at her.
And dive at her, like the momentum will take him.
Yeah. But then I say, he falls unconscious. Then we have this quote here, John, which you will appreciate. I don't think I'll ever understand you. I cook your meals. I tend to you practically hours a day, and you continue to fight me. When are we going to develop a sense of trust?
When are we going to develop a sense of trust? There is never going to be trust, you lunatic.
He's unconscious too when she's telling him this.
Yeah.
And of course, she places Paul down in the basement. And just as Buster's about to wrap the door, she opens it. And he asks, she's startled. I don't get any visitors. And he says, do you know anything about Paul Sheldon? And she does an Ace Ventura.
Soccer style kicker from the
I was going to do it, but I realized she says first, what do you want to know? And he says, well, anything you could tell me might help. And she's like, well, he was born in Worcester, Massachusetts 45 years ago. The only child of Franklin and Helen Sheldon, mediocre student, majored in history.
And one hell of a real American.
One hell of a model American. But she does the Ace Ventura, so I'm kind of thinking, is this where Jim Carrey got this from?
You know what? It's 4 years later. I would imagine so. I mean, that movie pulls from a couple things. Most famously, what was the movie that where he's with the plunger when the song playing? Crying Game.
Oh, the
Crying Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Old Ace is also watching Misery a couple years earlier, and that's just where he got this whole thing from.
Yeah, and it is quite funny. He says, "Well, anything you could tell me would help." Well, he was born in Massachusetts 45 years ago.
yeah, just give me his biography. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like reading a wiki page.
Yeah.
But he says that's not what type of information he's looking for. And Annie replies, she's his number one fan. She's got all his books, and I love how she says, "I'm so proud of my Paul Sheldon collection." And I made a note here, John, that now she's actually added Paul Sheldon to her collection.
Yeah, she actually got the actual being there for her.
The actual person, the actual thing, perfect thing. And she invites him in, and Buster asks, "Can he look around?" She says, "Europe." She's waffling, and she says, and this is what I'm saying about just smart. Right away, she works out. Boom, the writing studio.
Mm-hmm.
God told her to be Paul Sheldon's replacement, make up new stories. She tells Buster she bought a typewriter and paper and set up a writing studio in the front guest room. And this is what I just realized. That's what it was. Sorry about attention to detail. When I was watching this the other night, I realized it looks like there's also a framed picture of Paul Sheldon meeting the Queen of England.
When I was praying, God told me to get ready.
Get ready for what?
behind his the picture, the same picture. It's a picture of him shaking her hand.
I mean, he's a big time writer. I imagine the Queen likes that stuff too.
But she's got that picture framed behind it.
She loves him, man. That's obsession.
Yeah, and you see there's Philip standing there beside the Queen. So he is, Earl Philip, and she offers him a cup of cocoa. No, sorry. First of all, sorry, not a cup of cocoa. She offers him a couple hundred pages to read. But Buster says, "I'm not much of a critic," so she's going to give him the pages that Paul Sheldon read and say, "Oh, read them. Tell me what you think." And Annie offers him cocoa, and Buster makes his way upstairs without asking. They don't trust it. She doesn't trust him, but you see how kind of they're doing it around the door, looking at each other.
Yeah, he's very suspicious, and she picks up on that right away.
Yeah, she does. But she's kind of like, look, as she said, I don't get visitors. She's not stupid. If he's came here, there's a reason he's came here. He suspects something. He suspects me. That's why he's at my door. He's not just going randomly knocking doors saying, what do you know about Paul Sheldon? He's here for a reason.
Exactly. She's not stupid, you know.
Yeah, so Paul's coming around. And I just, another note here, I'm actually fascinated how much the layout of this house is exactly like the house in Psycho.
You know, I was thinking that I thought about it earlier where there was a shot in the kitchen when he was getting the knife that reminded me of a shot in Psycho. And that's the kitchen's the way it's set up. Actually, it was like more like Psycho 2 in my head, but the way it was lit, like it kind of reminded me of Psycho.
Well,
but yeah, the way the staircase is.
Well, you have to, you go in through, there's steps up to the front door, right? You go in, the stairs are just on the right, and then you've got the door behind the stairs into the basement, exactly like Psycho. You have one of the main living quarters off the left where Sheldon's room is. The right hand side, you have the lounge, right, and the dining area. But at the back of the hall, there's the kitchen. I think it is. But when you went up the stairs, and the way he goes around the stairs, and there's her bedroom off to the left, where's like where Mother's room would be. You know, now it's not exact, right, because that's like the Bates mansion, and it's a lot bigger and stuff like that. But I just found it curious that this almost is like a homage to the inside of the Psycho house, the way she hides him in the basement, just like Mother's body, and it's the exact same layout. You know, not only that, the cop coming to the house and getting killed is almost like the private investigator getting murdered as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's very similar.
She says a line as well, which I think is also in Psycho, which is said after the private investigator is killed. I'll get to that. It's very close here, John. So Annie sneaks up with a cocoa. Wee bit of a suspenseful scene there. So I'm thinking, do you think she poisoned the cocoa?
Oh, that's a strong possibility. I didn't think of that.
Like I say, she's like, he's came here for a reason.
That makes sense.
She's insisting on him taking this cocoa.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So Buster declines again and says he has to leave. He has to leave and suggests he pays her another visit sometime. Right? So closes the door. She closes the door, but as he's leaving, he hears a crash and runs to the door and opens it. Miss Wilkes? He enters. But here, where's Annie?
Yeah, where'd she go just now?
Right. So
she went to go grab the gun.
But she went to grab the gun. Yeah. But I had two thought processes. She was always going to shoot him. She went right away to get the shotgun, right? Or she heard the crash as well and thought, I'll go and get the gun. He's going to come back.
He's going to come back in, yeah. So she's one step ahead. And then, of course, we know what happens.
I was thinking maybe she was going to go and get it anyway.
No, you're probably right about the crash. Like she was probably, because it was pretty fast after he just walked outside the house, and she probably heard him like, oh, he's going to hear that too. I better go get the gun.
Better get the gun, just take him out. But yep, he enters. He's looking for Annie when he hears Paul shouting from the basement. Here, I'm down here. And Buster opens the door to see Paul laying at the bottom of the stairs. Mr. Sheldon? And that is so shocking. It's so quick. Just when that.
Oh my god! Yeah, my god. You know what that reminds me of? By the way, brutal hole right through his entire chest. Like he's dead. It always reminded me of another Stephen King adaptation, The Shining, when Scatman Scruthers gets all the way to the freaking Overlook Hotel, and the second he gets there, Jack kills him with the axe. Like all that investigating work to get up there, and same thing with him. All that work just to get blown away in like a split second.
Look, I know how much, and I think I've talked to you about this, John, about how much the Shining is held in high regard, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but the thing I always laugh when he gets killed with that axe because I thought the exact same thing. Like he just like. He's at home in bed,
He's
watching
in Florida.
TV in Florida. He's got that picture of that woman and all behind him on the wall behind him. He's living his best life, and he's getting these visions through the shine that something's wrong. And he just says, I need to go back and save them. Something's wrong, something's up. And he travels, as you say, all the way from Florida. You see him on the plane as well. Then he gets to the blizzard, and then he gets the snowplow from Tony from Rocky. So he does, and makes his way all the way up there, gets through the front door, and you think he's going to save them. And Nicholson comes out and hits him with an axe. He's literally through the door 5 seconds, and I can't stop laughing. He went all that way just to get murdered. And at first I kind of went, well, what was the point in him traveling all the way up there? Because in the book, he doesn't die. He saves him. He saves the kid, and he saves the wife. But then I remembered, he brought the snowplow up, so they were able to escape in the snowplow. So there was a purpose. But I just find it hilarious. Whereas this is a wee bit more sad for me. This is horrific because this almost feels as if the other cops think Paul's dead. They're not looking for him. This guy is pretty much on the lead. It's almost his only hope, his only savior. And once he's in the place, that's it. Distinguished. She murders him. So now there's no hope. Not only that, this is a plot point too, as I'll get to in a minute. I just want to say I feel sorry for the sheriff because, as I said earlier, I always think of his wife losing her husband like that.
In a brutal manner too. Yeah, it's terrible.
So another thing too about him being killed, this also switches her thinking back to the suicide murder pact, which starts the catalyst of Paul making this plan to get out of there once and for all because he knows she's going to kill me now.
Yep, he has to.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously now he's literally seen it with his eyes.
Yeah, well, before where she was just going to keep him there to write books, to write novels. Now it's kind of like no, just I'm just going to kill him now because of it. As I say, I want to get to this line here. What she says. So she's standing with a shotgun and she tells Paul it's a sign that she's known for some time why she's been chosen to save him. You and I were meant to be together forever. Now our time in this world must end. And she says she's prepared and put 2 bullets in her gun, one for you and one for me. Oh, darling, it'll be beautiful. But he looks about in desperation, sees the lighter fuel, looking for something, anything. There's nothing there. And Annie gets the gun and needle. And she says, now, don't be afraid. I love you. And then he has to buy himself time. So he says, I love you too. Stops her totally in her tracks. And he says, and you're right. We're meant to be together. And I know we must die. But it must be so that misery can live. We have the power to give misery eternal life. We must finish the book. And she says, but the time is now. And this is the line, I think, from Psycho. Soon others will come.
That is true.
Right? So that is why she's changed her plan. She's like, so it wasn't just about killing the cop to keep Paul. It was like she had to do what she had to do because they're on there. And now the suicide murder plan is back in action again. I have to just kill the both of us. But that line, I'm near sure Norman Bates says after he kills Arbogast, he tells it the mother. He puts her in the basement and says, now come now, mother. They came looking for their girl and now they'll come looking for you.
You're right. 100%. And that's true. She's smart. She knows, like, he's the sheriff. They're going to come looking for him. Yeah. And, they'll ask around and say, like, yeah, I think he was going up to Annie Wilkes' place because he was talking about her. So they'll be there quick if you don't figure this out.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, I'm near certain he says others will come. Not looking for you because they're not looking for her. They says others will come. And there certainly does. And to me, that's the direct quote. And that's why I think there's an awful lot of, parallels between this and Psycho, as I was mentioning about the layout of the house as well.
Yeah. 100%.
Because he puts Paul down in the basement, Anyway, so Paul says it's almost finished. By dawn, we will be able to give misery back to the world. As Annie retreats to get the wheelchair, he grabs a lighter fuel and puts it down the back of his pants. And Annie says, just as if nothing happened, I'll fix you something to eat.
Yeah. Again, she's able to switch that in her mind.
Just doesn't faze her.
No, she has no emotions. She's a sociopath.
Mm-hmm. So Paul works like a demon to finish the book. Annie, oh, Paul, I'm dying. Does she end up with Ian or Winthorne? He says, you'll know very soon. And then he says he started the last chapter and he wants everything to be perfect. And he needs 3 things. And Annie says, what things? And Paul says, you mean you don't know? And Annie says, I was fooling silly. And here's what you said at the start of the podcast, John. Exactly what he needs. He needs a cigarette because you used to smoke but quit, except when you finish a book. And you have just one. Yeah. And the match is the latest. And you need 1 glass of champagne. Dom Perignon.
Yep.
Who drinks Dom Perignon, John? Apart from Paul Sheldon.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I should know that, but I know I don't.
James Bond.
You know, I keep thinking, doubting myself because of the way the questions are set up. I was gonna say James Bond. I'm like, I feel like I'm wrong.
Is that like there's different years. There's a Bond movie where Connery kills one of the villains and he lifts out a bottle of champagne at the end, and he's like, or maybe it's Moore, and he goes, Dom Perignon.
Have you ever tried that?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Might have done over the years. I mean, I don't specifically go out and buy champagne to drink, but if it's a special occasion, somebody may have bought champagne, so I may have had it at one stage. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that'd probably be me too, but I never ever heard somebody say, "Oh, this is Dom Perignon."
But Bond is like, Dom Perignon. I suppose he wasn't a bad chap after all.
I think you're right. It was Roger Moore.
He goes, I prefer a 67 myself. But she says, Dom Perignon, it is. Now, tell us this. You've just asked me, have I ever had Dom Perignon? I've said, I don't know, but champagne isn't something I usually go out of my way to buy. It's usually like if it's a special occasion, maybe I'm giving it or whatever. Who the hell has a bottle of Dom Perignon in their house at 4 a.m?
Well, I'm going to assume that because she knows that he likes Dom Perignon, that she just always has a bottle of that in her fridge anyway. Fair
enough. She's psycho enough to have that. You know,
she probably has the lighter and the cigarettes too, and I bet she doesn't even fucking smoke.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. She had the lighter and the cigarettes because she says, I know what you need. Yeah, right enough. Maybe she had it in from when she decided you're going to do Misery's Return.
And he was going to finish the book, and when she finished, she would have the stuff ready for him.
Yep, fair enough. Because I was like, I'd have to go and get that. I have to wait till the off license open.
Yeah, and I don't even... That doesn't even seem like the kind of town that would have Dom Perignon, you know?
The sheriff had a bottle in his car.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly where she said, he's probably got it. I'll go get it out of his car. He's dead anyway. He's dead anyway.
Yeah. The Virginia's sitting home in bed waiting for him. Where's that Dom Perignon? Paul calls Annie in, telling her it's almost finished and to get the champagne. Annie assembles the cigarette, the match, the glass, champagne, and puts the gun in her pocket and returns to Paul. So what do you think she's doing there, putting a gun in her pocket at that stage? Do you think that she doesn't fully trust him? Or do you think as soon as she reads the final line of Misery's Return, she's just going to go, bang?
Exactly. Once she finishes up, that's it. It's over.
Okay.
Because she knows that the walls are closing in, so she's got to finish quick.
Okay. Fair enough. Sounds like my sex life.
Yeah. The walls are closing in. I better get out of here.
Better finish quick. Right. So Annie says, did I do good? And he says, you did perfect, except for one thing. And I like how her face drops. It's almost like earlier though, when he's asking about the paper.
Yeah, like what did I could possibly forget? I did everything right.
Yeah, what did I do wrong? And he says, this time we'll need 2 glasses. Are you going 2 glasses? 2 glasses?
Yep.
2 glasses. And she's like, oh, Paul. And I'm getting this stage now. She said that so many times. It's almost like she's doing it with him.
I know.
Yeah. I hope it's not. And I hope it's not creepy me impersonating it.
I think
Yeah.
it's fair. Someone's got to do it.
This has to be the least amount of impressions I've done in a long time. I just don't think I can do Annie Wilkes.
It's hard. It's very
It's
hard.
tough, man. It's tough, and I just don't want to muck it up. So, yeah. So Reiner building great tension and suspense in this scene, John. So she leaves, and Paul sets it up. This is it. Final roll of the dice. She comes in with a glass in her hand, and there he is, sitting there. I love how he positions like the typewriter and all. You know what I mean? Because he pulls his chair out, he positions the typewriter, and he's like, he's got it. They put the later fuel over it. And he's got the paper right over it, just ready for her to come in. This is what he's been built. This is all been built up on him. You know what I mean? For weeks, months.
To finally do this.
He says, remember how all those years nobody knew who Misery's real father was? Or if they'd ever be reunited?
It's all right here. Does she finally marry Ian? Or will it be Winthorne?
It's all right here. And she says, Paul, you can't. Why not? I learned it from you. I love that line.
Yeah,
and
I know.
He lights it up. This fight is absolutely brutal.
Oh yeah, it's a brutal fight, and I'm trying to pay attention to like when the stunt actors are in there and when it's them, because it's like, they're rolling around on the floor, slamming their head on the ground. I'm like, and the camera's pretty close, so I'm like, damn, like that's well done.
I think they done it themselves.
The whole thing, like at this one point where they have like a top down shot and they're rolling on the floor, and I'm like, maybe those are the stunt actors, but other than that, like when they got close-ups on the face, I'm like, I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's them. Like, maybe they just planned it in a safe way.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say they choreographed that, planned it in a safe way. I know that there's methods of doing fights in movies where it's safe for the actors. Where the way they position the camera, or the way, and they can maybe speed up a few frames as well to make it look more brutal than what it does. Like, for example, him hitting her head off the ground. He's probably not moving. He's probably not doing that. She's probably just moving her head.
Yeah,
So
and it's just
he
like
moves her
the
head.
angle of the camera, like his hand's not
So
there.
it looks like he's doing it. You know what I mean?
And you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe they speed it up a little bit, so she's actually probably just going slow, and they're probably walking her through it because obviously they can just do things like that. But it looks brutal.
It's brutal, man. And do you know what? The weird thing is, anybody that's watching this movie, here's a man, even though he's not the full health or whatever, beating the absolute crap out of a woman, and you're cheering him on.
Yeah.
Because
if any woman ever deserved it. If any woman ever deserved it.
Yeah. But I remember, I put a wee note down here. I remember Rob Reiner saying, this is Annie and Paul metaphorically making love.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
It is them. They were building up to it, so you're right.
Yeah. And this is where she says to him, I think is where when she grabs him by the throat, I think, and pushes him back, and he can't get any leverage because he's in the chair, pushes him back into the window.
Yep.
She says, I'm going to kill you, you lying cocksucker.
There it is. She finally cursed.
But instead of cock of duty, you cocksucker. And she's totally off the rails now, and she shoots him.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, as I say, like how realistic the fight is. And this part here, this is the funny. I pissed myself laughing. I'm sorry, I pissed myself laughing at this line. Is when Paul starts to get the better of her, and he's on top of her, and he lifts the smoldering paper that's just been freshly burned, and he shoves it in her mouth, and he says, "There, here, you want it? You want it? Eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Eat it till you choke. You sick, twisted fuck."
It is a great line. I love that too. Like shoving it in her mouth like that.
Yeah. And all that frustration and anger, it's a release for him. It's a release
finally to do it.
audience. Yeah. But she dirty Joes him, kicks him in the balls,
mm-hmm.
and she goes to run, and he trips her up with his poetic, with his cast, with his leg. And she hits her head right off that typewriter, which I noticed on the Blu-ray, which I said to you. I mean, it's a split second, but you can clearly see it's a big dummy.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty obvious, but it's a very quick shot.
Very quick, and it's poetic.
Mm-hmm. And then we think that's where she's dead, but we get the false ending, like a classic horror.
Exactly. True horror fashion, where she comes back at him, and he finishes her off with again, poetic justice, a heavy pig door stopper to the head. And I just love how she lands on his chest, and he's just disgusted. He just wants to get her away from him.
Yeah, she's done with him. Or he's done with her.
He's done with her. So here we go, John. We're 18 months later. New York City, isn't that right? It's not New York?
Yeah. The Four Seasons, I think.
Okay. And we see
I've never been. Too classy for me.
It's because you're not Paul Sheldon.
That's true. And also, I don't think I'd be able to get in with the price tag. I'd be like, one item on this menu is my salary. All right, I'll leave.
That's why I didn't know what part of New York that was from the. I was like, that's the rich part. I've only ever seen like the downtrodden part and the likes of Ghostbusters and the Turtles and things like that.
Where the common folk hang out. Although I bet you in 2026, I don't think that writers are going to be going to the Four Seasons as much.
No,
probably not. I don't know if I don't know how books sell as much now compared with the digital world as they did back then.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Wonder that Stephen King used to hang out there.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
In New York.
Well, I think the William Goldman thing of it all is actually the Knicks thing in the beginning. That's written in there for him because he had courtside seats to the Knicks.
But I thought of Jack Nicholson when he said that.
Nicholson, Jack had the Lakers, that motherfucker.
The Lakers. Yeah. So we see limping Paul Sheldon is meeting Marcia for lunch, and she hands him the first copy of his new book, The Higher Education of J. Philip Stone. Do you think that is the novel that she made him burn?
I think so. I think it's just he did the best he could to rewrite. That's always what I thought, at least.
Yeah, it's a weird title, though.
It is. I don't know what it's supposed to be playing on, but it's strange.
Mm-hmm. And she says it's getting great reviews. And Marcia says, I thought you'd be thrilled. You're being taken seriously. And he says, I'm delighted the critics are liking it. And I hope that people like it too. But I wrote it for me.
And that's, that's the lesson he had to learn, I think, is like, it's for him.
Yeah. Yeah, not for anybody else. Not for an Annie Wilkes or anybody else.
Not for the critics either. Like, he's happy that they liked it because, like, obviously he wanted to be like taken seriously, like when he was a writer again. But like after everything he went through now, it's like it was just for me. It was like for my healing process.
See, that's what makes me think it's not the book he burned, or it's not an attempt to do that book again, because that book was for him to be taken serious as a writer, and he wanted critics to love it and all. But again, that's not to say it isn't. Maybe he just has a different outlook. But it makes me kind of think, as you say, written this book is more of like I don't know, God knows what it's about. I don't know, but it's just like to help him get over the traumatic event that he had.
Yeah, I mean, that's a life-changing event that happened to him.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's what he says. He says, now, I don't think I'm completely nuts, but in some way, Annie Wilkes, that whole experience helped me. And Marcia says, I love this. She says, Paul, since you brought her up, I have to ask, this or I'll be drummed out of the Agents Union. How would you feel about a non-fiction book about what went on in that house? And I love it. He says, like, gee, if I didn't know you better, I think you were suggesting I dressed up the worst horror of my life just to make a few bucks.
Of course.
She says, but I thought you were over it. Oh, no, before that, sorry. After that, he sees Annie Wilkes come around the corner, pushing the trolley, dressed as a waitress. And you know what? I remember the first time watching this movie. I remember that scene in particular, and it scared the crap out of me because I thought, how the hell is she alive? I was too young to understand that he's seeing this.
He's traumatized.
Yep. And even now, for me, John, that's the scariest part of this movie because she's in his head, and he'll never be free of her, ever.
Never. And then, the waitress says like she's her number one fan. It's like a classic horror movie ending, in my opinion.
Well, before that, Marcia says, I thought you were over it. And Paul says, I don't know if anyone could ever totally get over something like that. It's weird. Even though I know that she's dead, I still think about her once in a way. And that's when she says about, excuse me, I don't want to bother you, but are you Paul Sheldon? And he's like, yes. And she says, I just want to tell you, I'm your number one fan. And he says, that's very sweet of you. And there's like this fake smile. That's exactly what he said to Annie when she first told him in the bed. And not only that, see the way that waitress even looks, the hairstyle, the smile. It's like, here's another fucking Annie Wilkes standing in front of me here.
Yeah, she's a fucking wackadoo too. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. And that is Misery.
Yep. A fantastic film.
Yeah. And just want to mention here that it made $61 0.3 million at the box office, John. And Kathy Bates won an Academy Award, as we mentioned earlier, as the start for Best Actress for her portrayal of Annie Wilkes.
Yep. The only Academy Award for any Stephen King adaptation, which is crazy, even though Shawshank Redemption, was nominated for Best Picture. It's the closest we ever got, which is wild with the amount of adaptations that have been done.
Yeah, it is weird. But for the most part, I think a lot of his adaptations are a bit, they're a bit slacky. Like, you know what I mean? I think there's only a handful of quality.
I was thinking about this. It would be hard to make a top 10, wouldn't it?
A top 10 Stephen King
film
adaptations?
Yeah, like a top 10 Stephen King film adaptations.
I think I could do it.
I probably have 10, but I bet you like the cream, how the cream always rises to the top. Well, I feel like it'd be a little once we got down to like the bottom 2 or 3, I think they'd be like, there's more favorites. Like maybe they're not necessarily the greatest. Like I'm trying to think. I like Needful Things. Like that's a grateful one that but that's like not many people think that's a good movie. I really enjoy that movie.
I haven't seen Needful Things. Do you know why, John? I have the book in there and I want to read the book first.
Ah, okay. See, I really like the film, and there's even a 3-hour cut of the movie that I prefer to watch. So like it's a good one, but I read the reviews and it's like, okay, so this isn't one that everybody else likes.
but if you just run through it here, just right now, just very quickly, okay? If you go to Carrie, right? Carrie by Brian De Palma, Salem's Lot TV movie. People call it a classic, right? If you want to count The Shining,
I'll count The Shining. That would be probably number 1.
Shining. There's 3 already. What about Cujo?
Cujo's a good one. Cujo's a very good one.
4. What about Christine?
Christine, I put absolutely.
There's 5. Misery?
Misery, of course.
Pet Sematary?
Yeah, the original.
Or 7 already. I haven't even done Shawshank.
Yeah, I guess Shawshank would make the list.
Okay. Green Mile?
I don't know if that'd make my top 10, but yeah, that's a great one. I understand if it makes people's top 10. Okay.
I love the Green Mile. First It.
The miniseries?
Miniseries or the first movie.
Okay. Okay. I like them both.
10, that's 10 already.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. And I said I would put Needful Things on my list.
But for me, just naming them off the top of my head, they're like the best adaptations.
The Dead Zone,
and
too,
I'm sure there's other ones there, but that's 10 to me of his best, just off the top of my head.
So we could do that one day if we wanted to. Yeah, the Dead Zone's one I'd probably put in my top 5 also.
Yeah, like there's some terrible ones, but that's just what I think, or maybe off the top of my head, is best top 10 adaptations.
Children of the Corn, not bad.
Children of the Corn as well. Yeah.
I guess if we actually sat down and thought about it, I'm probably wrong.
yeah. But I just to wrap this up, I wrote a wee just end note here just about Misery. So Misery is one of the best thrillers of the 1990s, a wonderfully crafted movie which still holds up. It's the performance from James Caan and Kathy Bates that keep you engaged with the witty dialogue and sadistic brutality. Reiner keeps the story relatively grounded and real, moving it along with the dialogue while building the suspense. In a lot of ways, just like Norman Bates, Annie Wilkes is to be pitied rather than despised, and Kathy Bates plays it wonderfully, expressing a wide range of psychological emotions on the acting spectrum to make us understand this is a person who is truly mentally disturbed. We can't help but put ourselves in Paul Sheldon's helpless shoes, or legs in this case. What would we do in this situation if we were held captive against our will by an obsessive mad person and were unable to get help or escape? Or in Stephen King's case, an obsessive fan. The author's fears are on full display here. It could be the best Stephen King adaptation ever made.
I don't know how I could follow it up. That was a beautiful soliloquy. Very well done.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
And yeah, Misery, one of the greats, and like David just said, could possibly be one of Stephen King, if not his best film adaptation. And Rob Reiner, one of our great directors who we tragically lost at the end of 2025, which is why David and I, not just it being January, wanted to revisit this film.
Yeah.
And, revisit one of his great works. I don't know if it's it's not necessarily my number 1. I think I'd still go A Few Good Men, but Rob Reiner, for the most part, he was one of our great directors who gave us so many great films, like This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me. I also really love The American President.
Mhm.
There's just so much in there, and obviously everyone loves The Princess Bride, and Misery might actually still be his best adaptation. I mean, his best film, because like everything David said, it's got great performances by James Caan, and Kathy Bates gives a career performance. On her tombstone, it'll probably read, "Here lies the woman who portrayed Annie Wilkes," because that's one of the greatest performances in any film, really.
Yeah, it's a great performance. I mean, I like a lot of Rob Reiner's work. I love Stand By Me. I love A Few Good Men's a great film. Spinal Tap's one of my favorite comedies. So I'm not sure where I would put Misery on his list of movies, but it is just one of those great thrillers. And I'm a horror fan, but give me a movie like this. I prefer a movie like this. To me, this is like A tier thriller horror. It's up there for me for movies like Silence of the Lambs or Psycho or Halloween, the original Halloween, those type of horror movies, The Exorcist. That's the type of movies that I would class this in the bracket with. Don't think it's better than any of those movies I mentioned, but that's the type of movie this is. It isn't your kind of slocky horror movie, and it's very well done. That a lot of some of the Keen movies have been accused of over the years. This isn't it.
No, this is not it. And I think we've covered everything we needed to cover today on Misery. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this full breakdown of the film. I had a great time doing this episode. I hope you did too, David.
Yeah, I had a great time. I hope people enjoyed it. As I say, it's a long one, but yeah, I just love going through each scene and just kind of talking about it and breaking it down. Say breaking it down. We just go through it and comment on each scene. I'm sure we
Yeah,
could break down a scene for just like for about an hour, just a scene on its own if we really wanted to.
that's
But
what Axis is for.
that's what Access is for, exactly.
Yep. So actually, that's a great lead into our goodbyes, because, this is the end of the show, but we want to let you guys know we hope you enjoyed this month of January, where David and I kind of have restructured our shows in a certain way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the live show we do at the beginning of the month, and then the new Axis Cinema Appreciation, which is a spinoff of this show. And then, of course, the main show that comes out at the end of the month. We'll be doing this every single month, for the foreseeable future. So we hopefully you guys are enjoying this structure. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for being fans of this show, and we hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about us, and we'll be seeing you around.